Welcome to the afternoon show on a Friday, and I'm just gonna clear the air about something. You guys all know that whatever, what do we call that thing, the eVTOL or the eVTOL? Okay, first of all, it's ugly, right? Like, let's be real, it doesn't look very good. And then the second part is, and I said this the last time, so I'm just gonna be repeating myself. When autonomous wins, because when you have autonomous vehicles everywhere, what is the point of flying vehicles? Because on the ground is going to be so incredibly efficient and no one's going to need to own a vehicle. Why do you even need to be flying in that clunky thing? Why? There's just no advantage in my opinion. So anyways, let's get into a few things here. Spoiler alert, Bitcoin hasn't broken 100,000. If it had, you guys will obviously know it by this point. The other spoiler is, well, Tesla had a good day. Tesla's up 4%. MicroStrategy is up 11%. Mara is up 7.5%. Like, lots of things are actually going. I'm not in Tesla anymore. We trailed out of it at 55, but someone else I know is in it. Oh, wait a minute. The position board will get corrected. Sean is away. He's getting an early weekend. They got a tournament.
We can be pretty sure he's not in any positions.
I'm pretty sure he's not in any positions. But Tesla going again. Without Bitcoin, you're seeing a lot of the crypto names catch a bounce. So I think, you know, if we break 100,000, you have some things that have definitely been going a little bit faster, to be sure. I'm actually in Mara long for the first time. I've only been short this stock twice, and this time I've gone long. I have a lot of trend lines in here, and Obi and I were talking about this, but I wanted to leave them on to at least explain what I was doing with Mara, which was this mean reversion here, and then when it broke that trend, get out. Then this mean reversion here, and when it broke that trend, get out. This time I went into the long off of that because the trend is your friend till the end when it bends. So I'm only in one stock, but eyeballs on Tesla, Mstr, a little bit of Alphabet, as it's been an absolutely wild one. And you know what? To each their own about the eVTOLs or whatever the heck we're supposed to call them there. If you're into it, you're into it. I don't know that I would be betting on it. Like I can see those drone vehicles for things like deliveries, for niche, for like a cool, like replacing helicopters. Don't get me wrong, like I 100% think there's a big market for it. There's a market for it. I just don't think it's anything that resembles what you saw in Back to the Future, where there's a bunch of flying cars rolling around, and that's the primary thing. Everyone's got a flying car. I would bet that you don't see that. That's just.
Yeah, no, I think we probably have a long ways to go before those flying cars. People already struggle to drive on the streets in a flat plane. Forget about trying to fly in more dimensions than that. I think that would definitely maybe once we get some autonomous driving, maybe we can be a little bit more comfortable with that. But no, I don't know where you guys live, but out here in the streets of Toronto, the traffic is absolutely wild. Yeah, no, like I said, it's still a while away. Even if we have the technology for it to actually be effectively implemented out in the wild. It might take a little bit longer than that, but yeah, no, not really doing too much. I got into a bit of a Tesla long. I really like that short. I tried it a couple of times, and look at this. I actually had an opportunity to get in multiple times, but you can see here. Look my technical analysis. Absolutely beautiful, right? No, it's a bunch of lines just on a chart. But it held that anchor. That's what I wanted to kind of point out. This is that anchored off of this volume that comes in, and we held that quite well. We dipped below, and a little bit of that trend or resistance that I was going off of earlier has become into a bit of support even below that anchored VWAP. So that's kind of the stuff that I'm watching. We are kind of compressing into some of these highs, but trading sideways more or less here on Tesla. And something we did notice was that if you take a look at a lot of these other names like MSTR and CLSK and a lot of these other names that are moving in anticipation or along with in proxy to Bitcoin, I guess you can call it, it's moving relatively similar. You can see that when things tick up or things break trend on some of these crypto-related tickers, Tesla is kind of following in step with that as well. That's something that we did kind of notice as of right now. But other than that, don't have too much else. Let's see what's going on with the rundown. Brief.
Boeing.
Welcome, everyone, to the Afternoon Rundown, the show where you decide what we talk about every afternoon. Boys are locked and loaded, ready to look at the tickers as decided by you. Make sure to join us during the midday show and get into that chat and vote for your favorite tickers. A new way to vote, though, guys. All right, let's look at the major averages to start here. The NQ marginally in the positive territory, up 0.9, a quarter of a percent for the ES, and about 0.75% for the Dow. But the Russell takes it today, up 1.7% last time I looked, as we continue to watch small caps do a little bit better in this less elevated rate environment. Let's look at the number one ticker as decided by you guys. Tesla up 4 1/5. There really is no specific headline on this one today, but it's been very bullish, as this article denotes 55% gain in the last month with a lot of good bullish technical signals, guys.
Yeah, thank goodness for Tesla today. You know, because if not for Tesla, like a lot of the stuff that we thought was going to happen at the open, like we're going to talk about Nvidia. Nvidia's not even on there, but there's almost no way to explain. We'll get to the Tesla and what it's doing in just a quick little second. Like Nvidia, if you were looking for longs, I mean, I tried it a couple times, but 1 for 2 on it, so it's not like it's bad. We're flat on the stock, but Nvidia, unless you were short, a lot of people would have been trading this one or looking for it to do something, and now look at it do absolutely nothing the entire afternoon, bear flagging it to the downside. And Tesla wasn't really on my radar for anything but 335. Didn't get to 335 off the open, but you know what? It decided that it was going to set up a pretty solid breakout trade, or set up for a breakout trade. You get the false bottom, not a false bottom, but you get the false break of the low after a false break of the high, which initially first break high and then come in, break the pre-market low. That's a short setup for a lot of people. It then rinses those, holds above VWAP with, look at these wicks. This is what I loved about the breakout trade, was you had these higher lows coming in into a flat top, but all of these rejection wicks. Like you basically just have wick candles to the left of them and to the right of them into a flat top breakout clean at 45. Probably a little aggressive scalping out, but we did hold for 55 on the last little bit. I trailed it out there, and there's a good reason why we slapped that trail on. You can see the daily, and you can put out that 15-minute chart a little bit further. There we go. 358, I think it's 58.80 or something like that. Maybe it's 60. But that was the target area coming into it on Friday. If it was going to make the breakout, it got there or close enough to it, reverted, and now you're putting in some lower highs. But as Obi mentioned, it's almost like all of the runners, like anything related to Bitcoin. We're going to show MSTR next, and we'll talk about Mara, I guess, at the end as well. It's almost like everything is in a similar pattern waiting for Bitcoin to make a move. So there is some chopping going on here in all of the things that were running the best, which is, you know, those crypto adjacent names and Tesla. Ideally, Bitcoin just breaks 100,000 and we can all have a fun afternoon, or we should be very, very patient with our plays.
Yeah, no, definitely Tesla has been on watch pretty much all day, and it's holding up nicely as of right now, holding above VWAP. This consolidation kind of broke down, failure to follow through below the consolidation. That's below 352s right here, ticking back up, holding some of the moving averages back in as well. Now, again, if you guys hadn't noticed, I kind of like my trend lines, you know? It's I don't know. Everybody has the indicators that they like. I like my moving averages and my trend lines and my anchored VWAPs and my VWAPs as well. But yeah, some of these are irrelevant now. Like this was nice for the break of trend back in above anchored. This was nice for a nice little scalp there, or maybe identifying some support when it did break down below that anchored VWAP as well. And this has been nice as well. Over an hour worth of a bid here that finally cracks, and we get that selling back down through that anchored. But as of right now, we're kind of using that as resistance. But again, it's just lines on a chart. They don't mean as much credence as most people give them. I think the main point here is the market is relatively sideways, trading somewhat near its highs of days, range highs, and a lot of these tickers that are related or having some sort of affiliation to Bitcoin are moving pretty strong on the day, and Tesla is definitely in that basket for me for sure. Here we go, trading back above 354's day high at 356. Let's see if we can get there. I got this alert over here at 358 halves, a significant level from a few days ago right there. We couldn't quite get there just yet, but I think we're waiting for that Bitcoin 100. So let us know in the chat what you guys think. Is that going to come up, or do we wait for next week? But that's all I got for Tesla.
Before we go back to to Sharif, I do see a DJ Decker, and I saw this before. Someone earlier put the same thing, that they have Bitcoin hitting 100K on their chart from multiple sources, from Binance. Oops, that's the wrong thing. I've got Binance showing 99.5 is the high.
Yeah, 995.
I mean, this has 994 actually, but then I looked on Coinbase, had it close to 995.
997 as of right now.
You have 997?
I have 996. 8-9 just now.
And that's at the Trading View.
This is no, that's Coinbase. That's Coinbase.
Yeah, so Coinbase had the highest one for me, and then I haven't seen Trading. I should double check Trading View. Binance has it a little bit lower, but either way, 100,000 hasn't broken on any source that I've seen. That's the one thing they all agree on.
My phone would have been blown up by now.
I'm pretty if we'd taken 100,000, there'd be a lot of excitement and exuberance, and specifically in the name we're probably about to talk about next.
MicroStrategies embodying volatility here, guys, up 11 and almost 12% here after that big short report coming out from Citron Research, basically alleging that the company is far overvalued, making the case there that their market cap was about 3.5 times the size of their Bitcoin holdings, and there were other vehicles now. Other than buying the coin itself, where you could work yourself into Bitcoin. So big drop for MicroStrategies, but a little recovery right now, guys. What's the look?
I mean, it's an interesting move. Like usually the term I like to use is it's a linear move to the upside on MSTR, which is vastly different from my expectation going into today. So obviously when you had the move down yesterday, where it was just flushing the whole way, I was expecting a little more of an extreme move where you'd get a dump. I was looking like dump, reversion into 380, and we'd play a reversion trade. And then it went sideways, and I just sort of believed, okay, it's doing a consolidation. Let's just go for a clean breakout. What saved me on that breakout trade, and we went over this in the middle of the, went over this at lunchtime, but also we went over it as it was happening, was the second I punched into it, I zoomed out and remembered the initial plan, that 425 was a resistance spot, and immediately just tightened the stop and got out. It's like, I don't like that trade, let's find something else. We found Tesla instead, so that was good. But after that break, it then bounced VWAP and held the longest trend. Now, this trend reversal, while it looks very clean, it didn't have an entry setup that I liked, because I feel like you had to short, like if you're shorting this, you're shorting it in the low to mid 40s, and the top is 53. So I just did not like that at all. Oddly enough, like this trend line is now holding underneath it, so it's worth watching. But it's in this channel to the upside where you're still, like you still have a channel from the bottom that it's holding on to. Mara is doing a similar thing. I guess we'll talk about that as well. But with Bitcoin again getting to the top or close to the top and pulling back, you're just not getting that punch through, and everybody's in the same trade. So I just so that you know, like I have a tighter stop underneath here on Mara on our re-entry. Well, not re-entry, because the first time I was actually long. So it's not really, I can't call it a re-entry if I haven't been long the stock before. But the first time long, if we lose this, I'm jumping out of it. That's going to happen possibly before we get tomorrow. So just want to make sure I said it.
Yeah, absolutely. A beautiful grind on MSTR. You can see pretty much in a trending range here, very, very tight. We did break the range a little bit with some expanding volume or some aggressive volume coming in here on the 450 test. We flush all the way down into, what are those lows right there? 431.19 before kind of coming right back in. Now, this is the anchored I have into yesterday's open. We saw that aggressive kind of move on the first one of the days where MSTR has sold off aggressively all the way from a high of 548 to a low of 372 yesterday, pretty much opening near the highs and closing near the lows. But coming into today, we've been having this nice little grind up, higher lows as well relative to yesterday's low, pre-market low, and opening range low, and we're breaking above some of these range highs as well. We talked about that 425 mark, 425, 426 area. You can see this low from the morning session from yesterday right here, and that support turns into a bit of a resistance area here, not only in the after hours but in the pre-market as well. We didn't really do anything too crazy going through it, but a little bit of a chop churn to the upside, all the way from that 425, 426 area to 450. So it gave you about 25 points on the push towards those highs right there. I got the trend line in off of the range, opening range high break, hold, and it seems like we're kind of magneting back up into that trend area as of right now, trading at 4.45s here on MSTR. But yeah, got to keep an eye on Bitcoin. Got to keep an eye on what some of the other tickers in the sector are doing at the same time. So definitely one on watch. I think yesterday was one of the bigger days on it. I don't know how many people are trading it effectively today, but chart is showing that it's had a nice clean trend to the upside off of the opening range lows.
All right, guys, Apple still below that $230 level as it continues to trend below that, still up 0.4, a little bit more than on the day. There wasn't too many headlines for today for Apple, but there was this little tidbit today that they're looking out and taking on OpenAI and ChatGPT in general with their own LLM. Now, we already knew that they were dropping some AI with their new AI release slated for next year, but that was an SLM, a small language model. This is going to be an LLM equal in size or better than, apparently, ChatGPT. But don't hold your breath for this, slated to be released to the consumers in the Q1 or Q2 of 2026, so still a bit away. Separately, there was a headline today with respect to Indonesia, Apple looking to sell their iPhone 16 in Indonesia. However, the government there insisting upon local production in order to get access to the domestic market. So Apple looking to invest about $100 million there. That wasn't enough for the Indonesian government. They want them to sweeten the deal. So we'll have to wait to see exactly how that all unfolds.
Yeah, no, Apple coming a little bit to the downside here. You can see relative to the market as well, we're pulling back into the lower ends or middle of the range here on the NASDAQ, lower end of the range here on the ES as well. We've been making higher lows and higher highs on this ticker, a bit of a orbit or a magnet in and around that VWAP on the day today. But here's something that I do like. Bigger picture, this thing's been trading sideways, right? We've been trading sideways, 225s or 220 halves up into 230 with a bit of a held offer there over the past week or so. You can see this was on Monday. Right here, we make 230 highs, 230 highs, 230 highs. Today, we finally do get above 230 highs, but we only take like 71 pennies above that. 230.71 is the high day here on Apple today. So still well within range on the week, not really doing too much on a bigger picture frame here, but I guess if you're watching some of these range levels, potentially there are potential opportunities there for those who like to take the range trade. But sideways action there, not really doing too much relative volume as well here on Apple. But I like that 230. I like if you have ideas around that 230, seems like it's given it to you multiple times over and over again, not only just today, but during this week as well.
Yeah, 100%. I don't have too much to add to Apple. That 230 level has been pretty amazing. I do like 225 on a general basis. But you know what? If you talked about range trading, if you like range trading or you got a trading strategy out there, hey, why not put those skills to the test and put those trading skills specifically to the test? Join the Trade the Pool and Trader TV stock trading competition. Some exciting prizes are lined up, including a massive 160,000 extra buying power valuation for first place. The first 20 places will win. Competition kicks off on December 2nd and runs through December 6th, with winners announced on the 9th. This competition is your opportunity to push your limits and see how far your skills can take you. Mark your calendars, click the link in the description, scan that QR code below if you're interested in joining the Trade the Pool competition. I do want to get to, just very quickly here, two things. Nvidia is not on there, but I think it's at least worth mentioning. Nvidia just broke the low of the day. On volume, low of the day break on Nvidia, consolidating underneath. I think it's down 3.5%. You have a potential at a run to yesterday's low, which is just underneath 141 bucks, like 140.70. The 140 level is going to be key here. you like to think it can hold on to a 140 on a Friday, but Nvidia continuing to bleed, down almost 4%. And there was also a super chat I wanted to address. Are you still, I don't know what that says. Are you still something bearish on mRNA, bro? I'm assuming you're talking to me, that's fine. I don't know what that said. But in the trend sense, sure. Moderna's up 7% today. But when we discuss this, when you say, are you still, then I'm assuming we're talking about the discussion from a couple of days ago, or maybe it was even yesterday, where we were talking about names that were trending down. Trending down since earnings, for me, until something actually breaks the trend down, consolidates off a bottom, puts out higher lows, breaks one of those, like this level here, like 44, call it $44. Break this out, hold above here, and then I get bullish on it. And the example I'm going to use, because it's the one that I took, is Snowflake in a similar thing. So I think it just trends down and down and down, and I don't get bullish until it does something like this or like this, right? So like that was for me, that's when I get bullish on a stock on like a swing basis or like in a general trend sense. But otherwise, I just kind of respect what it's been doing for the longer run there. So that's just my thoughts. And again, yes, it's having a good day today. As a day trader, sometimes you got to be able to separate. Sure, it's bullish today. I wouldn't argue that on Moderna, but yeah, appreciate the question. Sometimes we always have to be a little more specific about the time frames that we're talking about. And every now and then, we'll be answering questions, and I'll talk about something on a daily or a weekly chart when we are day trading. But the question was about a long term, and it'll get misinterpreted. It will happen on Nike as well, because someone asked me about Nike, and I started talking about the long-term chart because I wasn't trading it. And then, when we pulled up the daily chart, it's like, yeah, of course it's trending up today. Actually, I think it's trending up again today. Sound is good.
Big day today for Sound, Neil. As you can see, they're up about 21 1/5 right now. Does have a headline, in fact. Their AI agent, Amelia, did really well at this Apiva Courtage company, which takes inbound calls for medical expenses. It looks like it reduced human interaction with those calls by about 20%. So headline for them today. Separately, guys, they are linked with Nvidia, as Nvidia is an investor and is also heavily shorted, about 25%.
Oh my goodness.
Short float is wild.
It's okay. So Sound, obviously, like when you say it's linked to Nvidia, it's true. Like some of its exuberance is linked to Nvidia, but it's completely disconnected from any. Yeah, but it's completely disconnected from any price action linked to Nvidia today, because one is trend up and the other is clearly just trend straight to the downside. But with a 25% short float, this is really just squeezing up here on SOUN. Now, something which I think we'll talk about when we get to Mara, and certainly maybe a few other names because I've seen it, is when you have a parabolic move up, and Obi and I were talking about this, and it was Obi's idea, is a reversion, it gets way better if you have resistance on a daily chart when it happens. So I don't know if this gets another dollar higher at 950, but a break of this trend, which is an okay trend there, but it's a much sexier trend on a 15-minute chart when you look at it here. A break of that trend is much better if it happens at $9.50 or above $9 than if it does it here. And I'll feel the same way about the name we talk about next on SOUN. For now, this just feels like it's a buy the dip until it breaks the trend type of stock, as far as I'm concerned. And Aaron, yeah, I'm flat. I got out of Tesla a while ago. I was just in Mara. I just got out of Mara. Want something to make the next move. It's a Friday. I don't want to be forcing trades. Like I've been scalping Mara mostly, like, wait for a very specific entry, get in. Well, I guess we're going to talk about Mara next, but I've just been scalping in and out of it with very defined entries and exits. But again, when it's been a good day, like I don't want to be, throwing it away, forcing trades. I want clear setups, easy ins, easy outs, where we're just adding to the net at the end of the day and not forcing any action.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a good look there. It can be forcing trades. If you find yourself forcing trades, then maybe you got to reassess a little bit there. Yeah, no, SoundHound very, very strong on the day today, doing over 1 times relative volume here. We're averaging in at about 1.7 to about 2. You can see that relative volume is also expanding as we pull into the closing session right here. Past a few days, how has this week been? This week was kind of sideways starting off there, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, just consolidating, just chop, chop, chop in and around that 6 to 650 mark. There yesterday, we got that strong volume as well. We started seeing seeing that relative volume come in a little bit yesterday as well on SoundHound, and look at that. Bit of a double top on SoundHound yesterday. Look at where that opening range low is. Look at where that pullback in the morning session is. Exactly on top of prior day's highs right there. That's absolutely beautiful. So if you were watching SoundHound today and you were like, okay, well, is this resistance turn support? Oh boy, it showed you that right off the open, that resistance did turn into support just above that 720 level, and we've been bidding up ever since, holding that VWAP as well, giving you that confirmation, breaking out of opening range highs as well, giving you further confirmation, and then again, trending to the upside as well on SoundHound. I missed that trade, not really one I was watching today, but beautiful action to the upside here today on SoundHound. Again, one of Nvidia's constituents, not the same price action, but definitely somewhat related.
Last but not least, Mara, good day for it today, 7 3/4 as it continues to ride up after that big sell-off after earnings. It did defend 19. Watch for my video coming out on the Mara trade, the range trade coming out, but it did have a couple of headlines today, completing the $1 billion offering of a 0% convertible note due in 2030. Separately, Compass Point downgrading Mara today to neutral and keeping the price target at $25. Obviously trading a little bit above that now. Neil, you had this. What's the look?
Actually, for the first time, very barely broke a daily trend. So that's what, like we said, I was just scalping it. Like I wasn't long this, I was long Tesla earlier, and SMCI. Those were the two stocks that I was actually trading. And it was MicroStrategy that I anticipated was going to be a little more parabolic. It turns out Mara was the better long, but it is what it is. Well, I just waited for my chances on a mean revert, and I was taking scalp trades on it, and neither one into VWAP. But if you connect to the absolute bottom here, it's broken, like right in here where I got in. It's like, oh, I'm long off 25, like 25.85. It breaks that trend, but also closed underneath the daily trend line for the first time. Now it's still going up, but that was enough for me to get out. But what I wanted to get to, and was sort of saving it, is on the daily chart, look at $27 on the daily chart. Now, if it gets to 27 and then sets up that same type of mean reversion trade where you break a trend line and we're doing it into the 27 level, well, I'm going to like that better. But here's the key. When I say I'm going to like it better, I'm still going to have the same execution rules. All it means is same execution rules, same setup, same plan, but I just probably take more shares. And the thing about it is you've got to be able to execute your trade plan. That's why you take trades on your trade plan. You've got to be able to execute your trade plan, whether you've got big shares, small shares, medium, whatever. Because at the end of the day, like if you're only trading your P&L, then you're missing out on refining your strategy. The idea is that if you're trading a plan well and you're trading your execution plan specifically well, then you can just scale based on the liquidity available in the stock. But if you're constantly shifting around like how much you're getting in and getting out, then you don't really have a plan you can scale. Because suddenly a factor that means nothing to the market is changing the way that you trade. And we've all done it before. Like I would argue I have some outs in Tesla that I feel like were net chasing and I didn't like them. And I'll leave the example right in here. And I was talking to Obi about this. And remember, you can rewind the tape when I talked about this trade, the breakout trade. It was breakout 45, scalp to 47. It will scalp this range. Now it's going to be hard to see. So shotgunning out 46 to 47 in here because I thought 47 was a resistance spot. So getting a bunch out there on the break trade, because I like making sure we get a bunch out on the initial break in case it fails. These are good. That's what I did on Nvidia yesterday. But these in here at the 30 cents, 40 cents, 50 cents, those are invalid. Like they shouldn't have happened. It's these that are okay. And it doesn't seem like much, but even if you like 20, 30% in here, that should be reserved for either in here or in here. Like that makes a difference overall in your trade. That's what I get about for execution plan. It's a lot easier once it breaks to 47, you're like every even dollar, and then it breaks 50, and then you had resistance at 53. Once it expands, it gets a lot easier because you know the clear levels, you want to hold for them, or the mean reversion, now you're holding it out into the wind. But it's sometimes changing the plan just because you see the net jump because you're in a bigger position. You want to make sure you're taking it the same way. Now, Nvidia yesterday was a much cleaner one. I wish I probably have it somewhere to show. It's a much cleaner price action out, which I did did prefer. So on Mara, if we do get to $27, it still has to set up that same mean revert that you've seen 100 times. But yeah, just waiting for it to get to 27.
Yeah, I think that trend on Mara, man, we're just waiting for that 100K on BTC. Yep. We've been trending nicely. The interesting thing, though, Neil, is like we were doing relative volume yesterday, right? Doing over 2.5 times relative volume, sustained pretty much for the whole day. Sure, we dropped down to 2x by the end of the day, but that was interesting. Coming into today, we're barely doing 1 times R vol, and we're just trending to the upside, which is pretty crazy here. So it's like light volume on the day. There's a 5-period R vol. So sure, we had some relative volume yesterday and maybe a little bit the day before, but nothing too crazy over the past few days or weeks. You can see that relative volume has been below 1 for the most part. And today we're getting that nice trend up on low volume, which is, again, interesting. However you want to interpret that action, that information is up to you, I guess. But interesting nonetheless. A strong trend on the day. Opening range high doesn't really give you a clean break, but chop, chop, chop. You consolidate at day or near day's highs before taking another leg up. That was pretty nice there, giving you, I guess, a couple of breakout or continuation opportunities, depending on what and how you're looking at it. And we pretty much come into prior day's highs here. Neil was talking about a bit of a reversion that did kind of occur, but that reversion didn't really follow through as we continued to catch a bid higher and higher on the day. Today we're getting really compressed and pretty much tight here in and around this 26 mark. And again, got to keep an eye on
Bitcoin again.
On BTC
99.6
as well.
Fresh high.
You're saying 99.6. Yeah, okay. So there you go. I got 99.750 now is the high. We're only about we're 250 points away from 100K, Neil.
Yeah, I mean,
that can happen in a swipe.
We do have a poll.
Someone just needs to hit the buy.
Someone needs to swipe the buy. Here is the poll that is up right now. By the way, if you want to be in the poll, you got to be in the chat. If you want to be in the chat, you've got to be a subscriber. So hit that subscribe, which you should already be doing. Make sure you get the notifications, hit the like.
I pity the fool that doesn't hit the like and subscribe button.
Look at that angry young man right there, angry old man. But seriously, guys, everybody, it's a great community. This is where we try to make sure we communicate with you guys, answer your questions, have fun polls like this. So get in there. Make sure you throw your symbols that you want us to talk about there. I see Adobe from Footballer X. But when will Bitcoin hit 100K? By today's market close, 43%. Yes. 38% say by Thanksgiving, let's feast. That's a no-brainer. By New Year's Eve, party time, 8%. Come on, son. Not anytime soon, keep dreaming. 10% of you, when we're essentially at 99.65, although depending on your source, I know some will be different, you're within a stone's throw, and 10% do not think Bitcoin is going to get there anytime soon, and we should keep dreaming. I beg to differ, sir. Yeah, we're going to get there.
Yeah. Today. 800. 800 is the high.
I think we're going to get there.
We're getting there within the next...
This morning I was thinking it would happen over the weekend because that's how the market works. But.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I think that regardless of what happens, everyone's been awaiting that 100K. So, congrats to all the hodlers. Congrats to all the longs as well on Bitcoin. Sure, some of the other crypto might be lagging behind, but yeah, no, 100K, we made it. All the way up. So again, it's been quite a wild journey here. Again, if you have been in the cryptoverse over the past few years, I still remember the good old days. I remember I was in high school.
The good old days.
When I was in high school, me and my buddy were talking about Bitcoin, and it was at $6. It was at $6 a coin, and we were just like, yeah, this is some new stuff. It's pretty cool. People might be, they're buying some pizzas with it. There's some things going on. It's the latest currency. This is gonna take over fiat. The dollar is gonna go to shit. Like, oh my god, like the hype was real.
Language, Obi.
I'm sorry.
No,
sorry. But relative to what Bitcoin has done, I don't know. Dixie's looking a little.
I could do better than that. Yeah, come on, you've heard the ETH story. Sean and I both know that one.
Oh, boy.
Anybody that hasn't heard, I apologize if I have to tell it again, but a good friend of mine, and I won't say his name, it wouldn't be fair, but a good friend of ours that Sean and I have known since high school, we had these dinners for, with the guys would go every third Wednesday of a month. We'd pick a spot and we would go there. By the way, Morrow holding 26. You can see I just went long again. Every single consolidation I'm going long. And we're on the way to the dinner, and I was in a car when somebody I know put a chunk and I'm not going to say how much, but a chunk into ETH at 25 cents. And it was the same person who had a buddy's wedding in Mexico, destination wedding. I remember when we were having a few at the bar before the wedding, was telling us all about Bitcoin when it was not even a thing. He's like, you guys should be talking about, you guys should all be getting into crypto. Trust me, it's going to be the next biggest thing. And then he was the guy that dumped a boat into it at 25 cents. Needless to say, he doesn't think about money. That's all I will say. Because he hodled.
Big chillin'.
But you know what?
All the hodlers are big chillin'.
But I remember, I forget which level it was when it broke. It might have been 1,000, whatever it was. And he took us out for a steak dinner. It was good fun. Although he promised he was going to take us all to Vegas, and that never happened. But I'm still not going to shout his name out.
Right. Well, you got to hit him up again and be like, yo, you still...
Great dude, man. Like, at the end of the day, he was preaching it. Like, it's on the rest of us. Like, I'm in it. I'm in crypto now, but like, come on. Still sitting here, so... You know, I'm not chilling in a villa somewhere. Let's be real. But that said, we are still going higher. I see 99.72. I don't know what you have. 99.72.
I got 99.8s.
Okay, so I think whatever your source is.
Coinbase. I'm looking at Coinbase Exchange.
Coinbase. I've got TradingView.
I like looking at Coinbase Exchange.
Okay.
But
we're ramping. We're gonna get it.
I see that some people are potentially saying it's already hit 100K. Sure, we're going a little bit higher here. We can actually put it up on the chart right here and do a bit of a countdown. It's running for it right now. 850s is the count right now. 99 850s right here on Bitcoin. This is a 30-minute chart. You know what? We can go down to the 15-minute. That's fine. So 99 850s here incoming. You're going to see it live, that 100K test. We only have, I guess, an hour and 23 minutes left until the bell rings, but Bitcoin doesn't hear a bell because it trades 24/7. So again, could happen within the open market. It could happen after hours as well, but being so close, only about 150 points away there, it could very well happen quite aggressively. You can see that Tesla as well. Tesla's picking up, kind of trending to the upside as well. Let's take a quick look at some of these names here. I'm going to go to a 5 minute. No, let's go to 3 minute chart right here. So Mara making some fresh highs as well. Mstr, what are you up to? Mstr 445s trading as of right now on Mstr. Here, let me bring that price in. So Mstr, we got CLSK as well. CLSK to the upside. Wow, look at this trend, man. I was watching this one earlier. I'm like, this trend is hella strong. I'm looking for that potential pullback to get in, and it's only been extending off of VWAP. No real sign of selling coming in here. And IBIT, we know that options became available this week on IBIT, and again, pushing some fresh highs here on this ticker as well. 56.86 are the highs. We're taking a bit of a pullback as of right now, but you know what? We will be here if Bitcoin hits that 100. When? I think when.
Nobody wants if.
There is no if anymore. I think
do or do not. There is no.
There is no try. Yes.
Right. You know what's up. Yeah. So like until it happens, and yeah, I think we all know what it means by now. We're talking about Bitcoin. Yeah, I'm just gonna go back into like scalp trading mode on Mara. It just continues to hold like $26 in here. So as we can come to the chart, it's not doing a ton. Like obviously you need to break. We're probably gonna need to break 100,000 for make a run at the high of the day. But it just gave 26 to 26.20, and now it's trying to do the same thing back and forth and over again. What's interesting though is MSTR. This isn't really. It's not doing much. So MicroStrategy, meh. That's the technical term for not doing what you want when we're pumping higher here. And there was just another, like every time we make a new fresh tick higher, we do a little bit of a pullback. We got to, I thought 99.85 is a high. Yep. And now we're back at like 99. I'm putting up Coinbase too.
100K false break reversion to 50,000.
So,
What?
What?
I'm dreaming. I
ain't going to know 50,000. Get out of this seat right now. We know
50% reversion. Come on. No?
No. Okay, first of all,
I'm just throwing it out there into the universe just in case we see the lick grab happen.
You don't own any Bitcoin, do you?
No, I own some Ethereum, Ripple, and Doge.
Yeah, but they'll all get wrecked if that happens. So we're all in trouble. Obi, why you got to put that out? Obi's out here putting hurt in the universe. Yeah, you
No.
voted. You did vote for that.
Did I vote for that? I mean, I don't know if I'm part of the 10%. I'd like to be, but I don't know. We'll see.
I actually, okay, if we're talking seriously about where would it revert to, okay, where's my stop? 85. No, if we're talking about where it would revert to, yeah, pullback. So therefore, there's the scalp trade out of Mara. No, where we should pull back to, like technically, like it would make sense the consolidations and prior highs above the breakout, and then somewhere in the 84, 85 range. Like 50, no, I just cannot see. It's entirely too bullish. I think the extreme would be down here. The more reasonable would be in the 80s, where I think there'd be a bunch of people loading up. There's just way too much bullish sentiment. And think about how long this consolidation was for us to break it out. Like really? Like we went from March to here to break it out of that channel. And when we get the move, it's going to pull back, lose it all, and go all the way back to prior support. I cannot think of a situation in which I've seen that happen on any chart that has a reasonable market cap. You know what I mean? Like where there's big money involved. I can't see. That said, 100,000 can also not happen today because we can't have fun things on a Friday, everybody. And I just saw, what was that? It was Sanity's, that's a great name. Sanity's Eclipse. Name of the day. How about that?
Sanity's Eclipse?
Oh, I like that one. Sanity's Eclipse. Look at the Bitcoin daily chart. There was 2 long consolidation periods, 2 short consolidation periods in the same months, the same duration. It's easy to see because Bitcoin pulls back after 100K. So I see exactly. I don't mind seeing a pullback. I just don't think it's ever that far. New says don't sell never. I don't necessarily disagree. I don't really sell Bitcoin. I've sold other things. I've just never sold. Yeah, you know what? I don't think I've ever sold Bitcoin. I suppose if it got to like 120, 125, I would consider, because I was always one of those 5% in the old in the old portfolio, and now I'm just kind of like, yeah, whatever. Like I think it's like 9 point something I'm in crypto total, which is more than I was ever anticipating. And it's like it happens when you get a run, and usually I'm the kind of person that manages that kind of a thing. But nope. Not this time. This time I've just been holding. Oh, actually, it's not true. I sold a little bit of ETH, but ETH is a smaller position for me. So I probably went from like 9.5% to like 8.8% in the old portfolio. And Bitcoin would probably have to go to 120, creep well above 10% in my portfolio, and then I would consider it trimming some. Otherwise, I almost wouldn't mind buying a little bit.
Yeah, I'm part of the crew that is buy only. On crypto for now. I think just long-term perspective. Whether it works out or not, who knows? But yeah, I don't think I'm selling anything anytime soon. And if it comes all the way back, maybe buy some more for the next cycle here. So I did get a little bit short here. Bitcoin did take a bit of a pullback here. We're trading 99.3s right now. So I like this
MSTR.
MSTR. I'm trading Misty, which is an ETF here on of MSTR. You can see right here. This is the MSTR chart as of right now, and we're taking a bit of a pullback. So like I said before, we were in that nice little trend. That trend broke with some aggressive volume. We bid back up. We rode that trend as a bit of resistance there, still trending up against it. And then 445's a bit of a consolidation. Bitcoin takes a bit of a pullback, and then we come back in. Whether we make higher lows or not, I have no idea. But again, let's exercise this idea here on MSTY. Let me.
Can I see your? I didn't see the execution on there.
Pardon? The execution on?
Oh, there it is. There it is.
Oh yeah. This chart right here. So yeah, let's see if we continue to make lower highs again. I'm just I think my stop's just at that consolidation high right there. I'm more than willing to step out of the way if we're going to continue to bid up right here. So. Barry asking, what's my average buy price for Bitcoin? No, I'm not in Bitcoin, but I think some of the crypto that I did kind of get into, Bitcoin was in and around 11,000 at that point.
You know what?
So you can go back on the chart and check
anymore.
that.
My problem is like I held some off exchange, and then I went into Coinbase, and then I liquidated some when the ETF came in Canada, and then got into the ETF. So it's like I'd probably have to do some work to even figure out what it is. But I can, like for myself, I haven't bought Bitcoin since I think it was like 56 something. Like this last move, I got like one dip buy at like 56, and I had nothing at 68, nothing at 72, nothing on the latest break. So I've missed a bunch of it. I was only asking about the execution because I was looking over at this, like the trend break, and there's 2 trend lines. Sorry, I'm putting them both up for a reason so that you can see the daily long trend line, which broke here to get me out, ends up holding on the last long. I wanted to put that in there. But the execution for this trend, the 25 hold to short, when it broke down just now and we didn't get the 100,000 break, well, I might have trailed out under a support level, but the execution, I'm like, I'm not punching short. Like, it closed down here at 25.80. I was like, I don't want to short 25.80 when the local high is 26.20. I was just like, I don't really like it that much. So I waited till it popped back up, or I was like willing to miss the trade to get something in like the mid 90s on Mara, because I'm just going to play like these little tight reversion trades. But I did want to thank Ari Pages, because Ari Pages asked in the chat, I might have missed it. Let me just see if I can find your note there again, Ari. He was asking how my leg was doing, and I can tell you this much. Yesterday at Physio, and I was telling Sharif this, I was doing weighted goblet squats. By the way, anyone that doesn't know, I had Achilles surgery, 4.5 months out from Achilles surgery, complete rupture. I was doing weighted goblet squats, weighted lunges. So, I mean, it's been doing fantastic. You guys everyone that's given support and had kind words, you're all fantastic, and I appreciate it. But yeah, things are going really well. And then you asked about stair running. I cannot wait till I can run stairs again. It's a great workout. When I was in Rome, I was like looking at the Coliseum, I'm like, imagine when this was full and what stair runs would be like in there. It would be amazing. I love working out. But a couple of things I wanted to get to. So yes, I'm into Mara off that trend line break, but I did not want to ignore this SOUN for everybody, because this is another runner which, if you set it up, there's a few things happening here. One, see that? Yeah, that's spicy, because that's almost a day-long trend that just broke on SOUN. Now, the problem would be, I'm fairly certain that I did not pay for locates on it. So there's still some time, and I do want it, so I'm going to throw it to Obi.
SoundHound.
Yeah, I didn't pay for locates on SoundHound because I thought we'd only trade crypto. So I'm going to go into Metro and get myself some shorts before it's too late.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, that's starting to look pretty good, especially going into, I guess we're going to Power Hour in about 12 minutes here. I did try to take a bit of a reversion yesterday going into the close. That was on Micron, right? Micron didn't really revert that much.
Yeah,
Let's go check what Micron is up to right now. Micron, what did you did today? You did nothing, but consolidate sideways for majority of the day. Same thing with SMH, if you guys are looking at SMH. So I'm really curious, what are you guys trading on the day today? I didn't really see much set up for myself. I took a couple stabs at some things, pretty much tried that Tesla short, tried the Tesla long, relatively break even on it there. Wasn't really willing to take profits on this consolidation. I was looking for that VWAP to come in, and when we did bid a little bit lower, I did not have the short as I stopped out on this kind of trend, like the resistance break right there with that aggressive volume that did come in and around that 12.24 on the 3-minute chart. But yeah, we're kind of holding underneath that 355 still, where we saw that sellers have been kind of coming in 356s, 355s, making lower highs on this ticker after that aggressive push up in the morning session off of that 345 opening session range high break there on Tesla. So nothing too crazy going on there. So I'm curious to know what you guys are talking about here. Eri Pages talking about SMCI. So let's take a quick look here. I know I see a lot of you guys tagging me, so hopefully we can get through some of those names as we kind of continue to wait and watch. I'm still looking for the next trade, guys. So SMCI was nice in the morning session. It's funny, I messaged Wayne about this, and I was like, I definitely missed this one. Bit of a double top on SMCI, and look at that beautiful kind of reversion back to VWAP. Not only do we revert back to VWAP, we come all the way down, break below, consolidate, and that trade kind of times out on top of 32. So that was definitely a missed opportunity on my part. SMCI, definitely some solid moves. Off of the open, it was great as well. If you took that pre-market high breakout, 32 went to 34s and some change right there. Prior day double top, again, we've seen this one before. Prior day double top holds on the opening range low right there at that 30.5, and that price runs away from it for that aggressive push back through some of these consolidation lows in the high 30s or a push all the way to 34. So nice little opportunities on that. Let's see what else you guys are talking about right here. What else? Okay, checking NQ now. We're watching the NQ, just MNQ and MNQ at the anchored saying turning in the chat there. Very choppy. Yeah, no, it's been pretty choppy. You can see the market. The ES is kind of the same way. We've been shopping around that 20,800 mark, not really getting decisively anywhere, about 50, 60 points above, or 80 points above, and about 50, 60 points below as well, 80 points below on the opening range low off of that 20,800. So just a little bit of a churn around those levels sideways, nonetheless. There, let's see, bought 5,000, talking about SMCX, MSTU. Yeah, so MSTU is another one of those ETFs of MSTR. We've been watching this one as well. So it seems like a lot of people are trading some of the more traded names on the day. Who would have thunk? So let's take a quick look.
I'm shocked.
Volume gainers is what I mean, right? Most volume gainers on the day.
Did you give the explanation of what Misty is, or did we just? Because I know this morning we were talking about all of the different.
Yeah, no, it's a MSTR option income strategy ETF. Now I have no idea what that means. But here's the thing.
That's what I was.
It's moving in sympathy to MSTR, and it also has MSTR in the name. So I'm like, I like that. In order to take that vehicle. Here, there's that stop out on Misty right there.
I always wonder about the liquidity. It's always more the liquidity for me on some of those, some of the derivatives. So as long as the liquidity is there and it's tracking as a day trader, if you're not holding it overnight and you're just trading it, price action, liquidity is all that's going to matter to you. If you're holding it overnight, you got to be very careful when you start holding any derivatives, right? Like I think everyone understands that, right? So know what the product is if you're trying to invest or swing in it or something along those lines, because then you get into a little bit of trouble, especially with the K. And I don't really know that one. I don't know anything about. I think the regular like 2X ones are a little more easy to understand there. Tony Price, I want to talk about SoFi. Although got a video coming out about SoFi over the weekend. I did mention it. I was kind of deciding between Alibaba and SoFi for the trade idea of the week that we're going to have coming out next weekend, and everyone on the show put one out there. But I'll get into SoFi without giving too much away. But Mara did the reverse. The last time it did a trend reverse, I've cleaned up the chart a little bit. The last time it did a trend reverse, the prior trend line ended up holding to the top. Now, the further, and any trend line works this way, the further you get away from it, the higher that gets. So giving a short in here off of 26 to wherever this line ends up being is a foolish thing to do. I almost said idiotic, but it is. So to me, it's always just give it to the prior high. So I'm giving it to this prior high. It's that simple. And I try to keep it that simple because it could grind so slowly up that this trend line, if I think it's a moving resistance, well, you could just be sitting there and it just moves higher and higher and higher. And by the time you get out, it could be at 27. So no, I give it to the support and resistance level. Just because I'm in off of a trend line does not mean I'm holding on a trend line reversal. So I've basically just been scalping in and out of MAR. The bigger moves have happened earlier, but the reversion of the daily trend line is gone. And now we are short, which is probably going to break back out because before we go to Adara, I just want to double check. Yeah, we're right back up to 99.7. So it looks like we are making another run at the top here on BTC. Adara?
I looked a little bit into this MSTY to kind of explain what it does. So basically what this is, it's a yield max option income strategy ETF. So basically its goal is to seek exposure to the share price of MicroStrategy. Basically what it does, there is a limit on potential investment gains. So there's a certain point, even if MSTR continues gaining, that the gains with MSTY will be capped. Basically, it's an actively managed ETF that uses synthetic covered call strategies to provide income and indirect share price exposure. Though it's worth noting on its website itself, on the Yield Max website, they do specify there's a high degree of risk involved in MSTR because it's a little bit more, this MSTY, it's a bit more volatile than if you were to trade a stock or traditional ETF. So that is the detail here. That's the information with MSTY, guys.
Stories for everything, but a good friend of ours from high school, Sean and I are a good friend of ours from high school. I used to live next to his now wife when we were kids, and they had a dog named Misty. And that dog, I mean, I'm not saying the dog was racist, but the dog hated me. Misty did not like me whatsoever. Bark, 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 bark. And I love dogs, especially other people's dogs I have to take care of. Cute dog, just absolutely hated me. So Misty, I get that bad sense about it. But as I said, we were just about to make a fresh high. We were at 99.7 on Bitcoin. We're back at 99.5. So all things 100,000 are just not going there. So SOUN, I drew the trend line, so you saw it. Broke the day trend line, consolidation entry, stop at the, well, I put it at the local high, I believe. Oh, no, I have it at the high of the day. Yeah, because we're tight enough here. We're at 30. I'm in at 37. High of the day is 37. So really, I'm only risking 10 cents. So we got at the high, and we're in the consolidation short. I got some in front of every even dollar, and then let it go past 8.10. There was another super chat in there. There he is. From Rohit. Neil, gap, please. Well, here's what I think about gap. And there's a very good reason why I stopped trading the gap. Because gap didn't do what I wanted to do. I had a plan of action for the gap trade, and really, there was only one thing that could have worked. I had a target zone for an entry point. It tried to bounce off that early. In a 1 minute, it's easier to see. In a 3 minute, it doesn't look like it bounced. But it bounced back through when it got about 24.80. I took a long off 25 with a local stop there. I tried a couple mean reversion trades in there that just did not go. This one did. So I could have, you could always, ifs and buts, candy and nuts, all that kind of good stuff. Everyone's heard those lines before. If I take this mean reversion trade at 1042, great. This would have been my winning trade at gap. But what was happening at 1040? What could have been going on at about that time? Oh yeah, Tesla was going nuts. So look, if I had stuck with gap, I would have had that third trade. No questions asked. Like Tesla went $10, and gap, if I take that same trade in here, I'm getting long at 23.60. I'm getting bulk out for 50 cents. It's not bad. It's a $23 stock. And I probably still hold on to some because it doesn't break the low. And maybe we get a little more out there and we get $1 on the last 10% of it. So it would have been good, but it's not a day maker like Tesla was. Sometimes you've got to pivot. And this was the lesson of the day. Pivot away from the thing that was your first idea because it's not working and do something else. And that was what I did over there on gap because I could have forced it. I'd be up on gap if I had taken that trade. But I wouldn't be up as much because Tesla was just better. You've got to be willing to pivot from what you like the best to what is the best opportunity in your eyes in the market. Now on the higher time frame, because you probably don't care about what I did today, which is fine. I don't know what that error message is, but we'll just click it anyways. Invalid session. I didn't trade Australia P Pro 8, although sometimes I wish I did. Gap on the daily chart. Now our charts, since the name change, aren't really going to give you much of anything, but the good news is you can see the 25-50 double top. At least that's in there. What did end up happening, and what's probably the most important, you can probably see on a 15, is where it caught the bid. It pretty much, not the entire way, but that gap fill to prior highs at 23, that's where it caught the bid. So after earnings, you can slap a anchored VWAP. That's what I know Obi will do, and we'll be able to show that. Or I can look for, as long as it holds at 23, it's still got a shot to continue that move. So good bounce on it in front of that 23 level, a consolidation and a close here at or above VWAP, or just even above 25, or sort of 23 I think is at least reasonably bullish. I think it can be a continuation play, despite the fact that it's rinsed. I've seen gap do this before, where it rinses when it looks good on earnings, and then there is a move later to the upside. So SOUN has decided to break trend and go sideways. Sometimes it happens. MSTR, by the way, did that just wick 450 again? Look at that. Little rejection candle at 450 on SOUN. Sorry, I mean SOUN on MicroStrategy. That looks pretty interesting. I mean, if you're trading MSTR or Misty, then you might want to pay attention to that. Though Bitcoin is not making, it's just not going. Another pullback on BTC, now at 99.3. So, yeah, maybe it's just not going to happen until the weekend. I think maybe that's what happens in crypto.
What's going to happen? We just made a 99,860 high, pull back in. 993s are testing right now. I got stopped out of that Misty right here. I'm trying to get back in, but not really filling me here. Just sitting on the offer. Yeah, gonna pack my patience. Let's see what we got going on here, but nothing too crazy. Let's see. I think there was a super chat that we may potentially have missed here, so we can kind of go back and look at that. I don't know if we covered. Yeah, I don't know if we covered some of these. So Havana Woody, thank you for the super chat here, saying, Obi, what's your expectations on Doge reversion and local highs? Doge, here's the thing, man. I actually haven't looked at the chart in the longest time, I'll be honest. So we can take a look at it together right here. As of right now, I've got to check out that Coinbase, and then I like to go on a much higher time frame here. I don't know if the daily's satisfactory for me. Let's go straight to the weekly. To take a look at the higher time frame, right? So that's what we're watching here. Higher time frame is what you're asking for. For reversion, yeah, I mean, look, we've been strong with expanding volume, breaking past some of these prior highs. Oh boy, we're at 40 pennies. I remember when this was at 70 pennies. I held all the way up and all the way back down when it went to that 70 mark. Right, and then a nice little consolidation at a low of 5 pennies right here. Absolutely beautiful, and then trending to the upside. So for a reversion, I want to see this distinct break, right? I want to see this volume start to dissipate. I want to see maybe some exhaustive move right here, so maybe an aggressive move to the upside. Obviously, you want to see Bitcoin taking a bit of a breather as well for a backside reversion move. But as of right now, nothing too crazy. It still looks like it's trending up, consolidating, trending up, kind of stair-stepping on the way here. You can see kind of did something similar at a much smaller magnitude here as we attempted to break this 20 thou mark. Sorry, not 20 thou. Oh boy, 20 cent mark right there. Doge is not at 20 thou just yet. Not yet.
That would break
not yet.
Everything.
That would break everything? I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, yeah, of course. I mean, there are prices. It's impossible.
What?
Huh?
What was that?
Depends on
What's happening?
Fabian's having a little bit of fun over there.
Yeah, I don't know if Fabian's.
No, but look, obviously, like, look at the size of the market cap, right?
Yeah, yeah.
There are prices that it's impossible for to achieve. I had this conversation with my barber actually when he's like, oh, but like this coin, that coin, you saw what Bitcoin can do, this altcoin can do the same thing, and then you can get rich. All of that money, you know what I'm talking about? Like that crazy money, like the friend I was talking about with the ETH at 25 cents, that type of stuff is over. Like that's not happening anymore. With the size of Bitcoin's crypto's total market cap, the chances you can get those types of ridiculous gains, like turn 10,000 into hundreds of millions of dollars, as an example. I'm not talking about anybody specifically. Like no, seriously, like it's just not. You can't have that happen anymore. So those are all dead. That said, what's so funny, Ramin? Ramin is like cracking up over there. SOUN finally broke its consolidation. What is going on? Okay, never mind. Shenanigans are going on to my left. SOUN did a small move to the downside. So this
you want this one?
This daily long mean reversion, first stop 30s, then next stop 20s, and then we get some 10s. And I'll just let Obi do his poses over there. He's like doing like Vogue and this and that.
I mean,
come on, Vogue.
You know, my shoot's not till next week, but you know. Oh boy, look at that, man! Coming right back in is Misty and Tesla. Okay, all right, thank you. You know what? I was actually posted there at that 37.5, so I got to cancel that order. I was like, okay, you know what? When I'm having too much fun posing, this market's like, all right, well, Obi's not looking, so let's do the move. No, I'm joking. Pull back on Tesla.
Bo Callahan.
Pull back on Tesla. Pull back on a lot of these tickers here. 99 ones coming in on Bitcoin right here. Oh boy, had to. While I was posing for oh boys are happening here in the market as we pull back aggressively. So Tesla coming back to 532s, 531s, and some change trading now. So yeah, that pullback is coming in on the market as well. 20,800 coming in for a test here on the Nasdaq, and the ES also pulling back in. So the spider coming back to the range lows right here. As you know, spider's been pretty much sideways all day, so we're just doing more of the same as of right now. Again, power hour. This is the beginning of the hour, and we're starting off the first 4 minutes with a bit of strong selling coming into the markets here. So yeah. What's the next trade? Well, I was posted at 37.5s here on Misty, but Misty was like, no, you don't get the fill right there, and she pretty much ran away from me there, back down to 37. So you know what, that's okay. Where's the next trade? You know, if
you really didn't get the Bo Callahan thing.
No.
The poser. You're a poser. Bo Callahan is a poser. Nobody watched Draft Day. That's how much people hate Kevin Costner. Is nobody? It's not even that bad a movie.
I'm not good with movies or actors, man. I'm just like, if you show me a picture, I'll be like, yeah, I've seen him around.
You probably have never seen Draft Day. I'm messing with you. You would, unless you're a hardcore sports fan, you would never watch that movie. Like, unless you like fantasy football in the NFL, you'd never watch the movie. But Chadwick Boseman was fantastic, and rest in peace. But no, there was
His names sound familiar. I'm just.
No, basically, like there was this guy who was supposed to be the #1 pick. His name was Bo Callahan, and he was a poser, and that was the whole thing. Oh. It was like, yeah, that he was going to be a complete bust. Shenanigans happened, and I will stand by. One of the things I hate in sports is when people punk somebody who gets anointed by other people as the #1. They didn't anoint themselves. Other people called them #1, and then they get this bust label on them as if they call themselves the best. No, a bunch of people with a lot of money thought they were the best, and when those people were wrong, they mocked the person that they rose on a pedestal, who probably just busted their butt their entire life to be good at something, is one of the best in the entire world at it, and then gets mocked for not being the absolute best. It's utter nonsense when you call a top prospect a bust. Anyways, protect the kids. SOUN got to 20s. After the push to 30s, I'm still hanging on to, I don't know why, 40% of this. I'm going to get one more leg out because I want to have half out at this point here, and then we'll let the next third play out to 810. Simple mean reversion trade there. And I do want to show, we have a lot of participating in the chat. Some people have said it's not a bad movie. That's great. Chris L watches Moneyball every spring. I watch Major League before baseball season, and I watch Draft Day the night before or the morning of my fantasy football draft every single year. It puts me in the mood. Sometimes I'll do like the Sonny, whatever his name is, Sonny Weaver thing. And if there's a guy I really want to draft, I'll actually make myself a note, blah, 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 no matter what, just for complete jokes. Yeah, you have to have fun like that. By the way, Katina beat me when I was in Rome in our fantasy matchup. And I want to give a shout out to him for not busting my balls about that. Like, we're in the same fantasy league. I came back from Rome, and he didn't talk any smack over the fact that he beat me last weekend in our matchup. And he's beaten me twice this year, so which is crazy because I'm ahead of him in the rankings, and he's whooped my butt twice, and he hasn't talked smack about it while on the show, which is pretty cool because I think I probably would. To be honest with you.
Yeah. No. Okay. So I'm looking at the next trade here, and I'm like, what is this beautiful chart? Now, Misty. She left me, so I'm like, all right, I got a new thing right here. GM. Have you seen GM?
General Motors?
Like, look at that.
Oh,
would you just take a look at it?
What's the news on General Motors today?
Oh my God. I have no idea what the news is, man. It's not doing any relative volume, but aggressive trend to the upside. We broke that trend and been only going sideways coming into the middle to the end of the day right here. That trend broke around 12:30, and we've been trading sideways below that 58 halves as of right now. 58.37 is trading. So I don't know if we're going to get too much of a reversion in the last hour of the day. Look at how the 15-minute candles look right here. So we kind of broke trend right here. Been shopping around pretty much sideways, but it's giving you about a 30 to 40 penny risk right here. But if you want to risk to the high, maybe a little bit more right here, 40, 50 pennies to the highs right there. Reversion to VWAP would give you about, 60 pennies to the downside. So maybe about like a 2 to 1 potentially, or maybe even tighter if you want to risk tighter here. But GM, very strong trend, and missed this one on the day today right here. So maybe I'll take a look at Ford. Yeah, can you find it?
No, the only thing I
saw
saw,
doing the same thing.
The only headline I saw was from like pre-market. General Motors gears up for potential F1 entry in 2026. And the significance of that, I'd have to ask Brennan because I'm not into racing. Brennan's our resident expert. I mean, Randy's our car expert around here. I don't even know if he's still around. But Brennan is the one that knows all of it. Trust me, that guy knows everything about F1. He's all about that. I don't know anything about it. I think the Legos are cool for those sets. But we reload it. We'll come to the charts for a second because you'll see how Mara's not there anymore. Sometimes when we change positions, it's instantaneous. Like I just got out of Mara at the local high, and that was like instantaneously. Every now and then it'll happen faster, but sometimes the position board doesn't do it right away. But yeah, there's a local high break on Mara. Every time I check my phone is to see what Bitcoin's doing. Back to 99.4. So SOUN, which is the only thing I'm still in, that caught a bit of a bid. Never got the fill at 25. I wanted to take another leg out here at 25s. Didn't get it. At this point, I don't want this to, this is Obi's term. I don't want it to revert the reversion. So when it makes the initial break, and this is just, for when you're talking about your own trading strategies or whatnot. I'm drawing from the wrong line. Anyways, that's the wrong line. This one. There we go. When it makes that reversion break, or you know what, you could have used this one from the bottom wick, and that would be your entry. Same entry, 2 different lines, doesn't really matter. When I'm giving that one to this high, once we make a breakdown like this and go 2 legs there, revert the reversion, I'm getting out above 40. This is where I don't want it to turn into a losing trade. Because when you're taking a mean reversion or a pullback, it's a stock that's up 20% and it's trending higher. If it doesn't follow through, getting through 810, which is support level, or even the previous support level, or getting to VWAP, you shouldn't be fighting it because it's still an upward trending stock. You put up a higher time frame on it, like a 15-minute, and it's a very clean upward trend. Now, I would grant you it's broken, clearly broken that trend, and I like the trade, but there's only so much that I want to fight it, especially when we're in the power hour. So I want to respect that. Alma Hamada, the European Automobile Manufacturers Association said new car registrations reflective of sales rose 1.1%. I think that is why car stocks in general are up. That makes more sense. Okay. I didn't see, I just typed in GM to my feed. I probably should have looked to see if there were stories for Ford or just in general for all of them. That makes more sense. It's not going to be the F1 thing. That makes a heck of a lot more sense. That said, GM is way better than Ford and has been for a long time. That we've been talking about a while, including sometimes mocking Ford because of it. But General Motors chart is spectacular.
Yeah, absolutely crazy. I mean, that's another one of those tickers that have done well for themselves over time. Yeah, no, I'm just looking at some of the other crypto, looking at my crypto basket here just to see what's actually strong here. Tesla taking another pullback here, so it's a good thing I got out of those longs on that 534 area test between 353s and 354s right here on Tesla, coming back into 352s once again. But there are some crypto tickers, Neil, that are very, very strong. Of course, Mara is definitely one of them. But even a cleaner and more consistent bid here on BTBT. We know this is another small cap, bit of a small cap runner right here. What is the market cap, you may ask? Well, the market cap is about 683 million as of right now, with a share float of 152 mil. So we're trading at $4.45. You can see that aggressive bid all day long with a VWAP hold, opening range break, prior day consolidation breakout as well, pushing for that prior day high break as of right now, going into the end of the day here on BT. Another one here is CLSK. So CLSK, very similar chart here, very strong on the day, held that VWAP early on, held and broke pre-market levels, held and broke this consolidation high from prior days, and then as of right now, still coming into that prior day high on CleanSpark. So pretty much a nice little reversion trade happening here right off of the open of yesterday's aggressive selling that came in within the first 3 or 4 15-minute candles of the day. So yeah, I'm seeing that those are two tickers that are pretty strong on the day with the most consistent bid here in terms of crypto names. Now it did have earnings names as well. We can go through some of those. We were looking at a few, or I was looking at a few earnings names in the morning. NTAP reported last night once more. Flush to the downside, so I was looking for that long off of the open, and it definitely did not do what I was looking for, so I have no fills on it. But oh boy, if you were looking short, it gave you that and everything more right off of the open with that aggressive selling coming all the way down into 120.66s with an opening price of somewhere around 135. So absolutely crazy here, selling off on NTAP, pretty much reverting a good chunk of this earnings reaction, or covering a good chunk of this earnings reaction here on the day today. Another one was ROST. Ross Stores is more of the same here, as it sold off aggressively off of the open there, giving back a decent chunk of the gains that it had off of its earnings report right here. So opening range high, also day high is 155 halves, so opens around 153s, trading around 145s right now, with VWAP holding strong to the downside as sellers kind of came in the opening session, as well as the midday session on this one, as it extends now going into the last hour.
Something's happening to Walmart.
VWAP, you saying something's happening to Walmart?
Yeah, Walmart.
Oh boy, yeah,
guys.
Walmart with something happening right now. Let's see, market chatter an hour ago. You know what? I might want to check my Twitter here. GM's actually coming to the downside as of right now.
I didn't catch it for some reason. The news source in my ear was just insanely quiet, but I heard something about the CEO
leaving.
The CEO leaving.
Yeah.
CEO leaving the. Okay, so what? CEO leaving the company of Walmart.
Oh boy.
That's not fantastic. I mean, obviously, when you've been performing really well, what's better? Where would the CEO of Walmart go to make it better? Like, I'm trying to think of where you could be leaving for. I don't know. I heard leaving. I didn't hear retiring remain. So Walmart, you can see on volume pushing to the downside here. Obviously, the name has just been, it just made 52-week highs today, right? So you're seeing a very, very strong stock, CEO leaving. And when we have that, maybe when we get that, yeah, it just says leaving the company. So it doesn't say leaving for where, it doesn't say retiring or not, because a successful CEO, if they were leaving to go somewhere else, my first thought is, oh, where would that be? So that would be interesting. They've already, yeah, I'm just hearing a couple of other things going on. There's some internal promotions to an executive VP position, but Walmart's starting to catch a little bit of a bid here. I want to let this one settle down because if it gets back into VWAP, that's usually a place that I would want to fade, and it's no longer falling apart here. That'd be interesting. Someone just said he's going to Dollar Tree. Yeah, I love that. We have the best community out there. No, yeah, I mean, come on. Probably not. Like, where would you go? Coke? I don't know. Rotate to Target.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, would money go into Target because of that? I don't know that I don't know if I would buy that, but yeah, you usually sometimes you want to look for that sympathy play. Just the first thing you want to think of, are any rivals going to be up? No, that's why I was like, could he be leaving for somewhere else? And it's like, where could you possibly be going? But like, well, what's going to be better than Walmart? Costco. But Costco's not doing
Costco's
it.
doing fine.
There is no story that he's leaving. There's another thing here. It's Kyle Kennard promoted to Executive Vice President of Health and Wellness. Come on, tell us who's replacing its CEO.
Target's catching a bid now.
It is?
It actually, it's catching a bid right now.
Oh, now it is.
Yeah, aggressive off of VWAP. So again, the news just came out, I guess, right? So you got to give it some time to kind of trickle through the vines and get to people's, get to people so they can get their hands on the keyboards and phones and make some decisions off of those. And yeah, coming in a little delayed there, a bit of a bid on Target, but nothing too crazy. Walmart bidding back up here as well. I got a little short here on GM as it starts to break down a little further there. VWAP. All I'm looking for a quick scalp is a quick scalp into VWAP just below that 58. Let's see if we can capture 20 to 30 pennies on this name for a continuation to the downside. Not risking too much on this ticker as we are in power hour and less than 45 minutes left in the trading day as of right now. So market pulling back as well. A lot of the buying kind of on this name has been done in the morning, and it seems like we tried to catch a bid without any success here, and we've been slowly kind of trending back down going into the close. So I just want to capture a piece of that move, a quick scalp. Let's see if that kind of works out there. If it doesn't, that's perfectly fine. What is the next trade is what I'm looking for. Some of these Bitcoin tickers we just covered, very, very strong on the day here. You know what? I do want to keep Walmart up just to see how that kind of finishes reacting.
I might
Fed news as of right now. Do I still have that Misty order in? I don't think so. Okay, good. Because we're ticking back up into some of those prices that I liked from earlier. 58.20 is trading here on GM. Not the I guess most volatile name on the day, but we'll let this kind of do its thing right here. What are you guys trading, man? CLSD
I've seen a lot of
NNE.
NNE.
Yeah.
I think we should be talking at least a little bit about NNE here. If Bitcoin makes a move, we'll let you guys know. Walmart not doing a ton, but Nano Nuclear is at a double top as we speak. So Nano Nuclear Energy, it's up 12 points, 16% short float. Obviously, nice V-shaped recovery, although, I mean, there should be a different name for when it takes that long for it to get back into the top, because it's like a weird-looking V. The only issue I have with a double top breakout, why I'm not taking a double top break in this kind of a setup, is the overwhelming resistance, these wicks here in the mid-30s. So I don't like that's like punching right into the web of overhead resistance on NNE. So like I don't like that setup in a general sense. But let's go to Adara.
Some more details here in the Walmart story. Yeah, the way that the Reuters review, I guess, or the way Reuters report kind of phrased it, and the way it was praised on social media, made it seem like the CEO was leaving the company. No, actually, the CEO, according to this Reuters report, just announced that Brian Setzer, who's the Executive Vice President of Health and Wellness, is leaving the company. He's going to be replaced there, as mentioned, by Kyle Kyle Kennard, who has previously served as Senior Vice President of the Neighborhood Market Business Unit. So Kyle Kennard, who apparently has been with the company for over 20 years, starting as a cashier, is going to be taking over Brian Setzer's role as Executive VP of the Health and Wellness Unit, guys.
Okay, well, that's stupid.
Yeah,
that's thank you so much, Adara.
Yeah.
That's why we have Adara on the desk, or why we always have people on the desk for you. So anyways, I'm kind of long Walmart here.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you not, like, are you kidding me? Like, give me.
Oh, boy.
Reuters, really? You might have even heard me say under my breath, man, I'm considering trimming some Walmart in my long term. Yeah. This is why you got to make sure the news is real.
Yeah.
CEO's leaving the company. Why would you leave when you're winning? You just made 52-week highs. Why weren't we more skeptical of this and you could have bought it at 89.3? 89.3, somebody's long at $89.30. Shout out to them. And why isn't it going more than it is? Like, it basically just got to 89.80. I'm thinking you should at least get to VWAP. Keep in mind, so it's worth mentioning, like, Walmart was pulling back before this. So I don't want to get too ridiculously exuberant. This was a flat bottom break at 90, right? Like, that's a flat bottom break at 90, and this actually happened before the news came out. So it was already rolling over when the news came out. So I would expect VWAP should be resistance in here. So as it slows down, like, I even want to be scalping into here. Like, it's just like, take the free money, because when Dara gave us that news, let me just throw a 1 minute chart up. I like a 3 minute chart. Sometimes when we're talking about news like this, it's better to put up a 1 minute so you guys can see it a little bit better. So this was already clawing back into the upside. This was the moment when Adara was like, yeah, clarification on the news story. Nothing in the world is free money, but I mean, come on. Like, he's leaving, he's not leaving. Let's just go back to where we were when this whole thing started.
Yeah.
And now if we lose.
That's a perfect example of like an intraday catalyst reversion. Like,
yeah, it's just.
There's no reason for it to be there.
Adara, like, that's sort of the thing. Like, you heard me bring the story, and which wasn't obviously correct. The correction did come in. Although it wasn't clear. When I read the second part, it wasn't clear that they were refuting the first part. So thank you so much, Adara, for letting everybody know there. So Hey Davis said you went long Walmart. Like I said, the only concern I have is it was already pulling back into a 90 level. So why would it be above 90? Like, it was leading to this move down, which might have exacerbated the move because it was already starting to roll over. So to me, it's like a scalp trade back into here, and it can't even seem to get past the point at which the news came out was at 89.90. That's where it just got to. So I've already taken out 80% of it at this point, and now it can't turn into a losing trade. As a matter of fact, I just trailed out of it. So you get what you can get. It's a pure scalp trade based on the news. Like, get in here, you're playing from there to when the news came out. Ideally, you know the story's bunk down here, and you get a better price. But again, I'm just scalping it. I think it was trending down to begin with, so you just sort of take whatever you can. Kenneth Zaw just said Nvidia is about to take off. Don't see, this is the thing. Maybe. Is Nvidia about to do something? That's the real question. When you zoom it out, it's like, yeah, it's doing something, and you zoom it out, like, no, it's not doing anything.
What is it doing?
No, it's trying to get back to this 142. When you zoom it in, it looks like a really good move, 50, 60 cents. But you got to keep in mind, it's going right into the resistance zone where it's been failing all day. Anybody going long off 42 has just been frustrated all day long on Nvidia, right? Like, if this has been that spot, I was probably like one of the first to be trying this 42 level. It looked really good, reverting it there, and there's just no follow through. And you could have kept doing it over and over again unless you were happy scalping 20 cents. It was a fail the whole way on all these 42 longs. So I'm not going to get trapped in that. We're happy that Walmart pulled back and that I didn't sell any. Like, I was actually considering like logging into my personal because it was at all-time highs, and if the CEO was really leaving, I'll just take off 10% because I don't love that.
I mean, Walmart's one of those tickers. You put. Oh boy, sorry, buddy.
What happened?
The bear fell over. So Walmart's one of those tickers. It's a prime example of stonks only go up, right? It's a trusted value company. Was it some of the guys on the floor like to call it? It's a boomer name. But it's also, I think it's also a value as well. But again, you look at Walmart on a higher time frame as well.
How is it a boomer name if they're okay, so
I don't know.
but they're the best
It doesn't
retailer
make sense
now,
to me. Yeah.
not in the past.
Yeah, but
Intel is a boomer name. You know, like Intel's a boomer.
yeah.
Because Intel was great when I
think
started.
their definition of boomer name is like, oh, it doesn't look pretty and it doesn't have volatility. You know.
What? Look at the chart. Okay,
Yeah, like this is the Walmart chart. Like, okay, this is a weekly. Look how, okay, you know what? Forget the weekly. We're going straight to a monthly right here. So we'll go to a monthly chart right here. That's not even doing this justice. So let's go straight to a 3-month chart right here. So each bar is 3 months right here on Walmart. Now, what about this ticker, Neil, says sell? Does anything about this ticker say sell? This is a prime example of stocks only go up. And sure, we were sideways for a good chunk of time. For about 11 years, Walmart was sideways. And then it broke out. And then it started to trend. And then it's starting to go parabolic. So interesting stuff here. So $100 on Walmart, potentially, if the trend continues, oh boy, definitely. And yeah, no, you can call it boomer, you can call it whatever, but chart go up. And a prime example of stonks only go up is Walmart. And you look at some of these tickers and it's like people are like, oh, what should I get long? What should I invest in? And you look at some of these staple names. Again, Home Depot being another one of them. I know it's another ticker that, again, stonks only go up. Look at this. Sure, again, we have that same kind of period of flatness here for over about, another 10, 11 years. You saw after that 01, failure to follow through, a little bit of flush after 01. Market didn't really pick up for these names until about 2010, 2011, after the housing crisis there. And then that volume started to come back in. Look at that interesting kind of increase in volume in and around the housing crisis where this ticker did nothing. Nothing too crazy. And then we get that light volume run up and rip in the 2020s. So
forget about all this boomer stuff. We're just having fun with it. One thing I actually dislike. Can you put the chart back?
Yes.
Yeah, it has to do with the chart. No, one of the things I strongly dislike is when people get too fixated with calling certain stocks or certain things dead money. Because what you'll do is you'll look at a company and look at what it's done over the past, and then lose sight of the fact that you're supposed to be forward looking.
Yep.
Right. So what'll happen is when it gets in a long consolidation like that, you'll miss out on the potential growth because it's like, no, but it's been barcoding. It's been doing nothing. Well, then you're never going to get anything good if you have that attitude. Like I never write off something because it's been quote unquote dead money. I hate that term. I cannot stand it. It tells you nothing about what is going to happen in the future. If it's trending down, I can understand. You want to get some reversions back. But if something's been like solid, going sideways, but they're doing some interesting things, and then you can see fundamental growth and all that kind of stuff, that's actually good. Like if some people are sleeping on something that's caught a bid, maybe it's accumulation too. You know, and accumulation is a great thing. And NNE is going crazy. Well, okay, maybe not crazy, but it did break out that $33 level. So shout out to anyone that has that one. I want to hit this one because this chart it's nice. It's nice.
It's a nice.
Yeah, NNE here just got through the high of the day. Maybe only went 30 cents, but it's a $30 stock. It's $6 from the bottom, this bad boy. So it is looking rather nice to the upside, although it is almost 330. The only thing I'm in, because we got out of that Walmart trade, and I'll go back to that in a quick little second. SOUN goes right back into, if we come to the chart. So not going to put up the trend line again, but you guys remember it broke trend, consolidated here. We got 36.5 short. It's going to round up to 37 because that's what our platform does. And then it goes right into resistance and pops down again. So probably shouldn't have taken that out. Don't mind that one because it had bounced. But now back into the 820. So I'm holding 10% of the trade, whereas I was planning, even if it broke this, holding a third of it, but it popped back up. So now we're just going to hold on the last 10%, see if it can challenge the 810 level. Just simple afternoon trading if you see a good setup. Low risk. If it could really follow through, great. If it gives you a single or a double, that's going to be fine. But no VWAP retracement. It looks okay. Here's the thing. It looks way better when you zoom in, right? But when you zoom out, usually, like for a reversion like this, you got to think about what I'm hoping happens here. You know, like when you're reverting this long of a move, I'm like, let's just go right down into 790. Where it happens fast and you're not taking outs like these, you're just getting the bulk of it out when it breaks this 810, 820, and goes even lower. So it's really just more of a scalp trade. And I want to check back in on Walmart because, once again, thank you, Adara, for the clarification and getting everyone to that everyone live.
Look at that.
Right back to 90. Remember, everybody, if not, forget about me. Who cares? I'm just an old boomer, apparently. Give a shout out to Obi, filling in for Sean today. But shout out to Adara, clarifying that story right here for everybody live at 3:20. It was at $89.67. This is Walmart CEO is leaving. No, that's not true. Is it that hard, like what to do in that particular moment? Live for everybody in real time. You could see where the stock was at, was in a consolidation. Could you have held? Probably. Obviously, it was the right thing to hold. Now it's back at VWAP. So throw up the ones in the chat. More importantly, hit the like, hit the subscribe. Shout out to our fantastic community and shout out to Adara at the desk because, I mean, that's about as easy as it gets. I mean, whether you take the trade or not, that's what we're about here. And then you get to learn. The next time we see news, we know what to do. Make sure you get that story right. Get it as fast as you can. Take that execution on the trade. Because if it had been legit, I probably would have gone down again. But it is what it is, man. I think we had a couple of people that actually took that one in the chat for sure. So great look there. Like I said, there's no such thing as free money because anything can happen in the market. But in terms of probability, from major CEO of one of the best companies in the world leaving to not leaving. Yeah. I mean, like it's actually, like it was trending down. It's actually stronger than it was before, which is crazy. Great look for Walmart. Wow. Oh, that's awesome.
You still in it?
No, I'm not still in it.
Oh, man.
That's why I'm like, forget about me. I'm like, no, bigging up Adara and you because I got out of it. Let's go to Adara.
Yeah, I didn't even take it.
And see how, I think we're going to do a little sector watch.
We're going to do a little sector watch. A couple of things to note, though, before we get into sector watch. So, yeah, just once again here, basically Walmart, the way that the story had been worded and the way it was circulating around social media did make it seem as though the Walmart CEO was leaving the company. In fact, it was actually Reuters reporting that, according to the Walmart CEO, Brian Setzer, who is their executive VP of health, is actually the one who's leaving the company. So that's just the clarification there. And WMT CEO actually stating this change, but not leaving himself. Also, the other thing here I just saw, apparently, according to an email there seen by Reuters, it looks like there are some people in the current administration saying that Biden is likely to curb these China exports as early as next week. So keep an eye on some of these Chinese plays with that in mind. Now let's take a look at some of these larger movers to the upside and the downside in the S&P 500. We're going to take a look at the first two are upgrades. We have NKE here. This one nicely to the upside, up 2 2/3%. Needham initiating coverage here with a buy rating and the $84 price target, specifically saying that they believe new CEO Elliott Hill is going to be an asset for this company. Next up, we have CRWD getting a nice little price target increase from KeyBank with their overweight rating maintained out of its earnings report. CrowdStrike, along with Dell and Autodesk, they're all going to be reporting after the bell on Tuesday. And KeyBank giving CrowdStrike a $395 price target compared to its previous price target of $345. Last but not least, Boeing, BA, definitely removed from its day's highs, but up over 3% here. They did announce here that they've secured a $2.38 billion U.S. Air Force deal. Then they got another midday pop. This is potentially due to some talk we heard coming out of Russia with regards to ongoing geopolitical tensions. We saw PLTR and some of these other defense names get a move up as well in response to that story. So BA on watch, and actually looks like it's trying to get another pop heading into the close, guys.
Thank you, Adara, for that.
Wow. Walmart's through VWAP.
Even more
90-20, it's still going. Somebody, like, okay, I want to see somebody in the chat. Let us know that you're in this one and you didn't paper-hand it like I did. I want to see somebody's got to be in this bad boy. Shout out to them. What an unbelievable move that is. And again, thank you, Adara. Rohit, Palantir's going. So I'm just reading the chat live. Like, the only thing I'm in is SOUN, which is still pulling back. But, you know, we're into power hour. Oh, you know what? That's what's screwing me up. I didn't change back to a 3-minute chart. I knew something didn't feel right. Not really going, but 5%, 4.5% to the upside. It's having a fantastic day, no questions about it. I would argue if you're looking for a runner, it's NNE that's going, hey, Davis, congratulations. I have a key for that.
Congratulations!
Boom, you're still in that Walmart trade. That's what it's all about. I'm telling you, look, okay, NNE's going as well through the high of the day. But realistically speaking, and not to keep harping on this, but I can't think of many scenarios where you'll see a situation like that. I mean, come on.
Wow.
Like, Reuters.
Point. How much volume
Do
is
better, Reuters. Look at the volume. This candle here on that news is the same volume candle as the open. What is that, 1 million shares? No, yeah, it's like probably a mil, I guess. Unbelievable. And I think that's why as you were saying, actually, it's Obi's point, not mine, so I'm not going to take credit for it. Sometimes I would, but not going to this time. No, Obi's point is the reason why, and this is a good lesson for myself, why I should hold past it was already going down, I should just get out because it's just going to go back to doing what it was going to do. Why you should hold past is because of the volume of people trapped in the short and the algos trapped in the short that are now wrong. That gives it extra explosive pressure to the upside. So why I'm out of the trade and why I failed on it is because I forgot the counterparty. Remember when you're in a trade, what's the other side? And sometimes it gives you a reason to get out faster. Other times it gives you a reason to hold. And in this case, the sheer ridiculous volume that caused that move to the downside is why it's a little more explosive to the upside and got a little bit higher than you might have expected. So I think that's fantastic there and a good look. Let us know anything else you guys are looking at in here. If you see something, we'll let you know. Early look imbalances. We got CVS, 2.4 million sell. Probably not a big deal. Ford, 1.9 million sell. AES, CNQ. Nothing big on the early look. These are just New York imbalances. So nothing on the NASDAQ has come in just yet. But we'll let you guys know if there's anything on the old imbalance locator. Bob S is also in Walmart as well. There you go. They're helping everybody.
Yeah, I definitely like that look there. Yeah, that's all, I always think about that. It's like trading. I view it as a PvP game, so you almost always have to kind of think about who's your counterparty. And shout out to Greg, kind of reinforcing that concept when I first came on the floor. He was just like, I'm looking for counterparties.
Yes.
On the tape. He's like, okay, when you're taking significant size, you can't just punch willy-nilly into the book. You need to find a counterparty to take the other side of your trade, and as soon as you find that counterparty, you're like, all right, that's my guy. I'm taking him out, whatever it is. You
know where I learned that lesson the best?
Where?
And this is a weird way to put it, but it was when over the course of a 20-something year trading career, you're gonna have a few fat finger trades, right? So it doesn't happen a lot, but every now and then you do the stupid thing where you put an extra zero, or a couple of times. Which doesn't happen often, but like 2 extra zeros on a trade. And you can always tell at the moment you've hit the book for way more shares than you wanted and the liquidity isn't quite there for it. There's 2 things that can happen. The algos are like, oh, we've got him, and you're screwed. Or it just starts working for you. And I think when you're in that moment, you get to see it where you're like, oh, somebody else is off base when I did that, and they're the ones panicking, not me. And you can see it almost in the book instantly, versus the usual response when you fat finger a trade, where the book tells you right away that they know you're screwed. And I'm going to get to this halt trade in a second, and you can see them start to rinse. Because the worst thing that will happen is you'll cover knowing that you have to, and then you get punked. This YYAI is halted. I just wanted to make sure that we got this one to you. The current tap is 352 despite it being an up halt. I wanted to make, people were putting it in the chat, 380 up halt, but the current theoretical auction price is 352. So it's sort of indicating that it's going to open lower, which is not very good for bulls. But it is going to open up. It's a volatility halt. You know one place you can find halters or runners?
Where's that?
Using eSignal, everybody. Oh. Why? Because eSignal is your ultimate gateway to the markets. You can't trade without, we all know we can't trade without a good charting platform, but eSignal is so much more than that. We're talking about lightning fast data, every single possible indicator you could imagine, the ability to backtest, the ability to code via the API, reliable data, which is always up, totally customizable. One of Sean's favorite, and a lot of traders on the floor, and I've used it in the past, tick replay is fantastic, especially if you're a momentum trader and there's these big liquidity moments and you want to get a good sense of what happened in them and how you can trade in them better. And I'll give an example after this in Tesla. Use the tick replay to see what happened in the 1 second or the 3 second or the 5 second when you were reacting to the news or reacting to the moment. It's a fantastic tool. As I said, back testing, forward testing, finding those opportunities out there in the wild and then applying them with a back test so that you can then go confidently forward and start doing those trade opportunities for real money. You want to make sure you got something reliable. Check out eSignal. The link in the description, of course. We think they're fantastic, and it's a good platform that a lot of people, I've used it as well. I think it's a good one. And just to hammer home that point, I knew better. I'm talking like Tesla was a good trade today, but I knew better than this exit here in Tesla. Now these planned because it's into the 46 to 47. Like the plan was 46 to 47 on the 45 break was where I wanted the shotgun out, because I thought 47 was first resistance. Getting out at 45, 30, 40, and 50, that's not really part of the plan. And when you analyze the Nvidia move from yesterday, when Nvidia made the 150 break, you begin to understand why I didn't offer anything on Nvidia till it broke in the first dollar. I don't think I had a single exit till like 101, like 151.20 or something on that, because you knew how explosive those breakouts have been when they're going to be a good setup. So sometimes you just want to leave those out, and it's a small difference, but when you do tick replay, you can get an advantage for that. Sherry's asking what happened to trading Microsoft. It just hasn't done much of anything why I don't like it. And today
it's not doing much.
Today the focus for me was on Tesla, crypto names, and all that good stuff. But I saw Riot in the chat. What are we doing here on Riot? Riot's still going up. MSTR just I just looked up and saw this on MSTR because I'm charting MSTR here. Yeah, it's rolling over again, and Riot's not doing anything. What is Bitcoin? Bitcoin's pulled back another time. So everybody that voted that we weren't going to get to 100K, what's the poll sitting at right now? 43% by market close, 38%. It feels like this is the win. And realistically, if you're a smart bettor, you have the biggest window because you have 4 o'clock till next Thursday if you bet this. You basically had 2 hours if you bet this one. So I'm actually in the back of my mind. I think I put this one for more fun, but yeah, in the back of my mind, it's probably smarter to put by Thanksgiving. It's nonsensical that we're not going to wait until New Year's Eve. We're going to get there. We didn't come all this way not to break it, even if it's just by a little bit. It should break it. The weekend is the time for crypto.
Yeah, I definitely agree. We've seen in the past some of the more crazy moves have happened over the weekend. And yeah, maybe we can look for more of that coming in. Hasn't really hit that 100K just yet, but definitely watching out for that. Probably gonna hit over the weekend. We're relatively close, and if we don't, we don't. That's fine as well. I'm sure there's gonna be more opportunities coming into the next week right here. We only have about 18 minutes left on the day here, Neil. So I don't have too much on. I'm looking at this GM here going into the close as well. Tesla still trading at 532 half area right here, 532.30s. So yeah, a bit of a downtrend continuing to happen as we only made lower highs after that run up right there. So I guess the idea for the short has been relatively decent as this action makes higher lows into this about a flat bottom right there at that 532. It's been taken out a few times, but we bid back up. But the thing is, yeah, we're making lower highs going into the end of the day there. This is what I'm looking at on GM. Now, if this trend kind of breaks to the upside, sure, I'm definitely wrong on that, but I'm looking for that trend to potentially come back in. But with only about 15 minutes just over 15 minutes left on the day, yeah, nothing too crazy. Wow, Walmart actually gave you that reversion all the way back up into that reference price where that selling started to begin right here. And yeah, nice little consolidation as well. A bit of a held offer, it would seem, just underneath that 90 half. You look at that sideways consolidation, very, very tight. And sideways there for is this over an hour? Yeah, it seems like, okay, over about half an hour right there, going into that news as well. So interesting action there on Walmart. Let's see, Rob EV saying Mr. Saylor likes buying his Bitcoin for MSTR over the weekend, and he's just got some more funds. Yeah, exactly. So he definitely has gotten a little bit more funds. Yeah, no. MSTR has been crazy this week. Yesterday being one of the top days for a lot of trades. I was just like looking at some trade reviews and some things from some messages from traders. And yeah, I guess People definitely had day maker, career makers on that trade yesterday.
Well,
yeah, look at that.
I think we were looking at this,
right
and I did want to get to I'll get to the super chat in a quick little second. There's a couple of good points in there in the chat that I wanted to address. But if you look at the top traders here at Real Trading, just going into Tip, which has all kinds of great resources, we get great reports in there. But I mean, top traders by market, I mean, NASDAQ and TSX, the top, which it usually is. But if you look at the top traders the previous day, it's like NASDAQ New York, NASDAQ AMEX 32, 21, 14, 12. Like NASDAQ. So it's not rocket science. Like, what were the big movers yesterday? MicroStrategy, obviously Nvidia to the downside, initial break, and then move to the downside. Even that small cap stock that went from like $11 to $1, I believe, was on the NASDAQ. So there's a reason why it was completely dominant. Usually there's a little bit more breadth to where the gains are, but it was all NASDAQ yesterday. Let's be real. In the last few days, and most people this month, I promise you, your best stock is probably like Tesla this month, or maybe it's like an Nvidia, although today is a bit of an exception because it stinks. But yeah, shout out to anyone that was trading it. I'm now out of SOUN, so it did hold on to that 810 level. Trailed out underneath break even. So it wasn't bad. I mean, it wasn't a home run. Realistically, that was okay. But the real, if anything, this should have been the trade. You know, Walmart CEO not leaving, instead of scalping an average of 20 cents out, best 30, like this was a much bigger move. That was a 70 penny move. Really could have just held on to it. At the time, I guess I didn't really assess it all that well in terms of what should have continued because of disregarding the volume. I had volume up there, so I saw it. You know, I just didn't read it well in the moment to recognize how much volume caused it to go down. And then when the story wasn't right, I mean, come on, that's a big one. Vasil, whoops, I just had your super chat in there. Where'd it go? There it is. It's kind of disappointing that Nvidia sold off today. What's going on? You know what? The market doesn't have to do what we want. But you know what? I can't.
Really?
I wanted to expand on that thought, but MSTR.
Oh, wow, look at
MSTR
that.
is dropping again. Now it did
Misty.
Misty. Yeah, MSTR.
Come on, Misty.
Oh, yeah, okay, Misty. That's the I forget what that one's called.
Misty.
One of the derivatives. But this happened right around this same price yesterday. It's 347. Double check. Are there any imbalances to worry about? No, not at all. Still nothing on the early look. But MSTR once again rolling to the downside at the end of the day. Despite program buying, this sucker is rolling back. And last time this happened, there were some, oh boy.
Oh, yeah.
Coinbase fell over as well.
Oh, wow. Okay, so that was quick.
Yo, that's legit.
All right. We might, okay.
Well done.
I don't know how I feel about
what
that
you guys
one
were
yet,
doing.
but might need to take a couple more pictures, but I do like it. I like it. No, it's a good.
Hit that again.
Like oh, boy.
Play that
oh boy,
again. I love it.
Yeah, no. So getting some movement here across the board going into the close. So yeah, Imbalance is about to come out in about 2 minutes right here, and things are moving. 352 holding and pushing here on Tesla as well. Let's see. Yeah, that Misty, man. I gotta. Oh boy. I was sitting here posted. I got stopped out earlier on this push up into the 60s, and I'm like, all right, I'm willing to get back in. I post on 50s, never comes back to 50, and then oh boy, coming flushing down into that for that reversion to VWAP that I was looking for coming into the close. Come on, this thing is definitely a monster here. MSTR reversion to VWAP comes in. I guess if you took the trend break right here and risk to the high, it took a while, but that trade did eventually come in. So yeah, it is what it is. About what is that? That's a crazy move on MSTR right here. About 16, 17 points to the downside going into the close. So yeah, there is that trade again. I was looking for the next one, and that's perfectly fine. We'll take the next trade. And the next trade, I don't think it's coming anytime soon. Right now, Neil, with
I mean, if the next trade's Monday, that's fine. But with imbalances are coming out, so I just look at the end of the day. If we continue the rollover, you saw what happened yesterday in MSTR. So you already saw the chart. We are bouncing off VWAP, but Mara did just do another revert off the same trend line. This gives me a tight entry just underneath 26 with a stop just above 10. 15 cents worth of risk at this time of day. If there was a flush that continued like yesterday, I like the risk to reward. But it's a very, very tight stop. And even if I wasn't giving it a tight stop for technical reasons, with the imbalances out in a couple of seconds or like 20 seconds, I'd be going tight stop on for that reason alone. And then throw in the fact that at the moment that sets up, of course, MSTR is bouncing off of VWAP. If you're watching Bitcoin, did we lose 99? One source had it losing 99,000, but then I had another. Yeah, we're still above 99,000. One of my sources, like Binance, has it a little bit wrong there, but we're still above 99,000 at least for now. Doesn't look like we're going to get 100,000 before the close. That said, it's not impossible. So this will almost certainly be the last trade of the day for me. I do need to get up to the desk, of course. We got the aftermarket show. We're supposed to have, I believe we have Raider coming on here. Although I haven't seen a confirmation, I'm pretty sure we have him coming on. But it is going to be myself, Adair, and then join Trader Talk with Raider Traders. So make sure you stick around for that. Still have a few minutes to go, but the imbalances have dropped. We got Flex.
Oh boy.
That should be Sharif doing it. Sell of 3.4 million. BAC is a sell. Microsoft a buy of 1.2 million. That's about it. Merck's a buy of 900,000.
Yeah,
GDX, that's nothing. Man. Nothing burgers. SMCI buy 800,000. Nothing in the crypto space. They're in a firm of a sell, 680s. That's not that bad. You're looking at a firm. Kind of a nothing burger on the imbalances, I'd say. Disappointment if you were looking for big moves, but as I said, we'll take the shot. But you saw the trend line. I'm not going to hit save because it's not going to be valid in the next few minutes. But we break out above like 26.10, I got to get out. The other reason for the tight stop is, the catalyst for this move down was MSTR breaking down. So took a shot at it, looking for a secondary push. Maybe we just continue to flush into the close. I think it's worth it. But if you're bouncing off 420 in VWAP, of course it's bouncing off 420 MSTR. Then you probably get a bounce here in MARA. And it's the end of the day, so tight stops make a little bit more sense. We'll still give it some room. Elon, you're right. And again, I have no qualms. Yeah, qualms. Admitting that this was not a good trade for me. We scalped it when we should have just said, come on. You're going to tell me CEO leaving and CEO not leaving? Walmart now, from the point at which Adara told everybody live, remember, this execute, that long, is the exact moment that she just said the words, it's not true. The CEO is not leaving. It was at $89.69. And now it's at $90.40. And clean. If there was one little pullback that could have trailed you out, but pretty clean. And even made a higher low. And then on volume here, maybe it was like a confirmation of the story here after I'd gotten out, where maybe you could have gotten even more long. But a great look there. Rohit Singh, a big jump on Microsoft. Remember?
Yeah, some of these things are...
when we have the imbalances come in there, Microsoft, I didn't see that before. Yeah, 1.2 million buy on Microsoft, which I'm pretty sure was not there before. So Microsoft now 1.2 million to the buy side. That would possibly cause a move. Although, the second move up is about 40 or 50 cents, which isn't a lot on a $400 stock, but it's not bad. And it goes right into the high of the day. So right into the high and then pulling back. Keep in mind, when you're trading off imbalances, if it popped up because of 1.2 million imbalance, then be wary of it flipping at 355 because that's when you get a lot of imbalances start to pair off. So I would strongly guess that imbalance on Microsoft, that's 1.2 million, is not going to be that big or is going to be gone at 355. That's just usually what happens on those bigger imbalances. They'll pair off at 55.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. We're catching a bit of a bid here on the market as well. You can see the NASDAQ and the ES catching a bit of a bid going into the close. So yeah, just watching some of those come in here. Still in this a little bit of a GM right now. Looking for a bit of a flush coming into the close, but it doesn't seem like it's really going to do that as of right now. Other than that, yeah, some strong imbalances. None to be seen here. I'm not really seeing anything too crazy. There's CVS here on the NYSE. That's not really doing too much. But yeah, no, it's been a wild week, guys. Absolutely crazy. Lots of opportunity across the board. Crypto names. It was chips. It was EVs. What else was there? There was I guess it's maybe some DJT news as well, some Trump names moving around as well this week. So lots of opportunities. Very hot market, guys. So hopefully you guys are taking the opportunity to put on some trades, maybe do some learning as well. And yeah, no. I think that in a market like this, you definitely have to be a little switched on. That's what I'm realizing as well. When I was reviewing some of my trades from this week, I'm just like, oh boy, some of these trades, they don't really come around often. Like that 150 on Nvidia, those all-time high pushes, earnings season, during earnings season as well. Very, very clean, gives you 3 points. Failure to follow through, back through that 150. Mstr, a bit of a triple gap up and not really in line with what Bitcoin is doing. And an interesting options market as well on that one yesterday. So could be something to learn from. I'm definitely going to be doing some of that this weekend. But yeah, no, absolutely crazy. There goes the futures.
Nvidia is now a buy.
Blasting.
Nvidia is now a buy of 1.1 million shares. The futures just made that little move up. I think it was at 55 when Nvidia paired off. Well, I didn't even see it before, but now 1.1 million to the buy side. Not a huge jump, but a decent enough one there. Okay, so here's what's going to happen. I mean, MSTR is continuing to roll over and heading toward 420, but I can tell you Mara is going sideways still. So I got to get to the desk anyways, but I mean, this is sort of telling me that I need to get out of it. So I'm just gonna sit on the bid and just start taking it out here because it's not moving. There's only 4 minutes left to go. I got to get to the desk. MSTR is now rolling back down toward 420, so it looks like it does want to fall. I'm trying to get out here at the even 26 level. It doesn't even want to print.
Yeah, it's going further, man. Oh
yeah, MSTR is falling still, but you're not really getting any action here, unfortunately, in Mara. I'm just going to climb out of that one and then work my way on up to the desk.
Yeah, thank you, Neil, for that one. Yeah, MSTR, big trade yesterday, and I guess today as well, as it comes in aggressively going into the close here. 422 is trading right now with only about 4.5 minutes left until the bell on the day. And yeah, like I said, it's been an absolutely wild week as of right now. I'm still in this GM, kind of just watching this tape. It's just chopping around 58 halves, not doing anything too crazy there going into the close. I was just looking for a flush a little bit into the 30s and the 20s, but it seems like it's holding up in the 50s. So you know what? That is not the best as of right now. I'm probably going to punch out of this one going into the close, but MSTR, that was the one to be in going into the close. Let's take a quick look at Tesla as well. He's saying somebody's saying OB Palantir's heading to 65. Oh boy, we can take a look at that one as well soon enough. Tesla here, you can see sideways action pretty much all day after that run up we had in the middle of the day with some strong volume coming in. And take a quick look at PLTR as well. Okay, yeah, PLTR pushing for some fresh highs. Are these all-time highs? I think so on Palantir. As this thing, again, another name that's been making back-to-back all-time highs as of this week. So I just got to get the stream deck going so we can get that timer ready for you guys right here. So once that's open, perfect. Okay, so I got my countdown ready to go. Yes, it is. And all right, so yeah, leave it in the chat. What have you guys been up to? How have you guys been trading this week? How was your trading week this week? And yeah, we can take a quick look at that. But again, only about a couple minutes. Stick around. We're gonna have Neil and Adara on for the market recap to give you a nice recap of what happened on the day today and this crazy week that we've had. Again, winding down this earnings season, we know we had Nvidia this week. Nvidia, some strong reaction there. Bit of a failure to follow through of those all-time highs on Nvidia as of right now. But again, it's held up quite well on NVDA. So that's definitely one to continue watching going forward. Again, a strong market leader. Yesterday, this was the crazy action right here. Failure to follow through of that 150 and then a pullback in to some of these lows. But this is interesting action, guys. This is Nvidia. This is one of the market leaders all day. For over about 4 hours, we've been consolidating just around this 142 mark. So that's going to be interesting going into next week. Hopefully, you guys had a chunk of MSTR or Nvidia this week. Again, some of the stronger trades on the day. Here, with people talking about CCL was a killer short. Okay, CCL. Let's take a quick look at CCL here. Yeah, CCL. Oh boy, that one came in real hot. Pretty much closing near day lows as of right now. So absolutely wild. We're coming into the last minute of the day here. So you know what? I'm just going to punch out of this position as of right now. That's fine. I did kind of spend a little bit too much on there. We're getting some aggressive wiping into the ask there going into the close here on GM. So we're going to just take that one off. We did break trend, so that's a good reason to kind of get out of this short idea going into the close. Only about 30 seconds left, right? So not really there. That trade's not really there, and I have to pretty much respect that. But yeah, no, it's great, great short on CCL there for that person that pointed it out. And hopefully you guys have a solid weekend. And again, market's been pretty hot here with only about 10 seconds left. Oh boy, so I kind of okay, so not 10 seconds. We got 4, 3, 2, and 1. Oh boy, we got a super chat by Raider Trader in the chat here. So all right, let me read this out. $300 super chat from Raider Trader. Big announcement for the Trader TV family. Happy weekend, everyone. Traders stay late. Yes. Raider Trader, shout out to you. Thank you for the super chat. Hopefully you guys have a great weekend. Thank you for joining us here at the desk this week. And stick around, market recap, and we will be back next week for a shortened week. Again, it is a Thanksgiving week next week. So take it easy, guys. Have a good one. Happy trading. Have a good weekend as well. I will see you guys around, Neil and Adara, at the big desk with the market recap. Bye-bye.
Boom. Oh, there he is. Shout out to you. Thank you very much, Sir Obi. Dara joins me in the market recap. We're also, I got to straighten that. There you go. We're also going to be joined by the Raider Trader, Andrew Raider, and he's got something exciting for us. Appreciate that super chat. We'll get you on in just a little bit here, but it's been a wild day of trading.
Oh,
it's been a wild week of trading. What are we talking about here, Dara?
Oh, yeah.
Unbelievable. You get Nvidia earnings. Meh, but there was crazy price action. It was MicroStrategy that absolutely took the cake. You've got Bitcoin at $99,419 right now. I just looked over and saw it. Mstr was the bad boy. Bad boy. No, seriously. I mean, what are you doing, MicroStrategy? What are we doing? Falling like an absolute rock yesterday and then getting program buying for the majority of today, only to drop $30 at the close. And I saw in the chat someone asked, will MSTR be short sale restricted SSR tomorrow? No. So it was 10% of plus down 2 days ago, so it was SSR today, but it will not be on Monday because it's not down 10% again. It would have had to do another 10% move into the downside. So overall, I mean, the S&P and the NASDAQ weren't really the story here, Adara. Like,
No.
You know, you didn't have much movement in the afternoon in the futures like you're going to have on both days, and it's a Friday.
Yeah.
And the story ended up being these crypto names going nuts. You
And
had
Walmart.
Walmart going crazy with what an unbelievable story that was.
Oh, yeah.
And I got to tell you, I mean, Adara had this clarification for everybody, and we should probably go over this one more time because it was essentially free money.
I have the headline.
there. So let's
hilarious.
go. Let's just cover this because there's no such thing as free money in trading, but that was about as good as it gets for Walmart. And the moment, and it was the moment that you had it that was the key point to punch in.
Well, it was really crazy because so I had to leave my desk for a bit. I sit back down. Before I even sit, I see that story in the corner of my eye, and I hear like Ramin telling me, "Oh, the Walmart CEO left." And the way it was worded was Walmart CEO Brian Setzer leaving company or whatever, right? And I'm thinking, Brian Setzer is a name I know because he's a rock star. I'm like, I do not think this was the Walmart. I'm like, this is kind of weird. So I always like to do due diligence. I'm like, who's this Kyle Kennard guy? So I look it up. I find this old posting from when Kyle Kennard got promoted to his like other most recent position, like the one he's in before this. And I'm like, this guy seems kind of low potatoes for whatever this is. Then I find Brian Setzer's official Walmart page, which is this, and that's when I realized, oh, this dude is not the CEO. He's the executive vice president of health and wellness, which is the same position that Kyle Kennard's been appointed to. And then that's when I felt comfortable enough to make the throw. Also, they've already kind of corrected it on a lot of the things, but initially the headline had said Walmart CEO Brian Setzer leaving the company. I think what they meant was like Walmart CEO : like he had said it. Officially, we have had Reuters make the correction. Benzinga's made the correction now, so I can't show you guys the headline because it was pretty funny. But yeah, so now I'm happy I was able to find the truth on that because that was pretty wild, pretty woolly. And I get where the confusion was made because it was very confusingly worded.
And look, I simply read it verbatim when I was telling you guys, and it was there with the correction. But I want to show you on the chart the pretty much exact moment on a 1 minute chart that the correction is made. So there is the original headline on Reuters, CEO leaving Walmart, and it was this candle, this one right here. 89, like the top of that candle is 89.72. The close of this 1 minute candle is 89.66. This is the moment of the clarification. The next candle opens up 89.65. You couldn't have lost money. This is where you're long. You couldn't have lost money. That's simple. I mean, it is what it is. It was huge volume on that candle, so shout out to you. There it is, dropping the truth hammer, Yoel says. That's what it's all about. So I'm tracking Bitcoin, but I also want to make sure we go over a couple of things. As we mentioned, it was Mstr that dropped into the close. It was Nvidia. That was an abject disappointment today, I think, for a lot of people. If you were looking for a continuation long, you certainly didn't find it in Nvidia. Let me pop a 15-minute chart up just to show you guys. Yesterday, 150 was a good break, but it was a rejection of a break. It then caught a huge bid to bounce off 141 to get back to 48, kind of closing sideways. But you really thought today, hey, you're opening back up above 45, you could really have gone. It just dumped again. Another failed break on Nvidia, so bit of a disappointment overall. That did lead to some weakness in some of the other chip names, but there was some strength in the market today here at Dara. You know, when you look at it, consumer discretionary, now why would the XLY have led being up 1.44%? Because at Dara, I've been trading a very long time. Yeah. Or maybe not that long because I'm young. But I can't think of what consumer discretionary name could have possibly caused that move. Can you think of it?
I mean, it could start with the T. CEO could be Elon Musk. It could have Doge-related excitement. You know, I don't know. That would be my guess. No, it's crazy though. This Doge, I couldn't find a solid catalyst on that Tesla move. I know Elon Musk had apparently tweeted some things about like the Department of Government Efficiency, but when I looked through his Twitter, I couldn't actually find any evidence that he had tweeted this. So I think that might have all been hype, and that came out after it had already had that massive run up past 350. So I'm not even really sure. Could have been that Doge enthusiasm. As I mentioned a couple times today, there's been at least 2 companies in the last like 48 hours invoking the Department of Government Efficiency, which is not even officially a department yet, in their earnings reports. Like Intuit did it yesterday during their earnings report. We had Life Wallet doing it during our press release. We're in a very interesting time. And TSLA is really poised to be in a good place to benefit.
Yeah, there you go. And sometimes, look, man, Tesla doesn't always need a catalyst. It can be a meme-driven stock. There's a lot of options play obviously going to be going along with it. You get some 360 call pressure on it. And the other thing to keep in mind here for Tesla is, hey, they've been blowing it out since earnings, blowing it out since the election. It was just resuming an upward trend after a little bit of a pullback. So technical breakout after a pullback on a booming stock. The trend is your friend. Why not look for long setups? That's why we talked about a long setup. I do want to acknowledge, look, I mean, I can't keep showing you this chart and then you keep seeing like FXI down 2%. The Chinese ADRs, they didn't do much during the day. You can see the FXI go sideways, but it was a big gap down. The Chinese markets pretty much overall 2-cent downside. I did want to point out some of the, as you mentioned, some of the earnings names, because as we go over them, you know, there were a few day-making trades today. Tesla long obviously would have been one.
Oh, yeah.
So if you had any of the day-making trades, your disappointments aren't that big, but the gap was a disappointment for me and it was a losing stock.
Okay.
And to be honest, sometimes the best move for your trade happens in the pre-market. And if you don't have it, and I'm talking about you, Gap, right here, breaking out the high, going 25 half into like $27. And then everything else was it falling until it caught a bid off 23. And a lot of times, if you don't get that first move, sometimes playing it back in on a heavy pullback, it's like, so what? You might just not have it because it happened in the pre-market. And I think I learned that lesson today with Gap. Don't catch a falling knife. I mean, whatever. It wasn't a big hit because we got out where we needed to, but a bit of a disappointment. That said, I did want to point this out. We did say it once on the live show. If you pop the daily chart up for Gap.
Oh my gosh, what a gap.
Like exactly. And it didn't quite fill the entirety of it in back to 23. It did hold that prior resistance and then managed to close up 12% still. So we shouldn't sleep on this name come next week. It's a holiday shortened week. There's not as much. You want to look back into the names that were volatile for those opportunities. So this one could still be on our radar.
Oh, yeah. And I was actually seeing, apparently, this is like its best day since May of this year. So good luck for GAP. And if you're actually looking for earnings next week, even though it's a shortened week, it's not going to be too bad for earnings. We have some economic data on watch too. Wednesday, we're going to get PCE and preliminary GDP, so that's going to be pretty cool. But for earnings, you've got CrowdStrike next week. You have BBY, I believe, also next week. You've got Dell. You have Autodesk. So there's going to be a lot to keep an eye on. Yeah, it should be a pretty exciting week for trading. I'm definitely, CrowdStrike is one of my favorites to trade, so I'm excited to see how that one sets up. But yeah, there should be opportunities kind of throughout the market.
And I want to acknowledge Amma Hamada. Am I getting it right? Is it Amma or Amma? You can tell me. Just I hate getting people's names wrong on when you're reading it on a chat. Sometimes we'll make mistakes. So Amma Hamada there has to do with regards to Tesla. Has to do with what you said earlier when we were talking about GM and Ford during the live show, during the intraday show. Tesla, car company, the European Automobile Manufacturers Association said new car registrations, a reflection of sales, rose 1.1% on the year. So on that news, you had GM have an incredibly strong day, 5% to the upside. You also had Ford with a good day, up 3.6%. And so obviously Tesla having a good day as well. I tend to think Tesla gets more fuel because Tesla is Tesla and with technical breaks well, but you're right. Yeah. That's potentially a much better catalyst for those names. And while we're at it, I do not want to ignore, like GM probably does not get its due. If we're being real about this. General Motors, like look at the chart of General Motors. I mean, come on. Like that's gorgeous. It's been good for a while. It's actually given you a double up from November, which you don't necessarily expect. You juxtapose that with Ford. No, it's not, nothing's Tesla, but you look at Ford, that's a dog if I've ever seen it. So as far as I'm concerned, we don't always give some of these other stocks their due, which is what it's about. That's why when you guys bring us some names in the chat, we always want to look them up so we get a better breadth of trading opportunities. That's also the reason why, Adara, we bring in other points of view.
It is?
Like a certain smart man that I do know is locked and loaded and ready to go, I believe, if I get the thumbs up. Oh, my stream, I can't hit Trader Talk. We have Trader Talk with Andrew Rader, our good friend. My button's not working, so...
Trader Talk.
There it is.
There, I did it, yep.
How is it possible? I mean, first of all, Andrew, I come on today, I got a fly sweater on, I'm not usually dressed all that well, and somehow you're going to upstage me again? I love the sweater game.
One occasion gets me dressed up this nice, and it's to go to dinner with my mom. So, that sound effect, yeah. I did actually just get back from a lunch with my mom, so I haven't seen her in a while, so yeah, I dressed up nice for her.
Well, say hi for us. I mean, absolutely lovely. I can see where you get the smarts and the charisma from. No questions asked, sir.
Yes. Yeah.
So I know. Okay, first off, we always want to talk stocks, and I wanted to get to some ideas, obviously, that I know you're going to bring to us. But can you tell us anything, or do you want to save it for a little bit later? I mean, you dropped a super chat that something big is coming. Do you want to drop a hint? Do you want to expand on that? What are we doing here?
I'll drop a little hint. We can drag this out. You know, let them stay for as long as possible, as they say. A little bit of chat bait here. But it has to do something with the weekly newsletter on the weekends.
Ooh.
But yeah. So anyway, yeah. Back to stocks. More. We will announce it at the end before I get kicked off. But
sounds good.
Yep.
Look, so when we're talking about the market, obviously for a lot of our viewers this week, I mean, it's like, okay, crypto. We didn't break 100,000. Yeah. There's been like Nvidia earnings are going to be a big thing. There were so many other plays out there that I think could have been missed. I mean, John Deere was ridiculous. I mean, blew out earnings. You saw that break higher. I think, probably missing out on, if you weren't looking at IWM and some of the moves, some of the small caps were making, there were a lot of other sectors within the market that don't get the press, that were getting ignored, that were blowing it out and giving you trading opportunities. What led the way for you this week in particular?
Sure. So specifically how I was positioning, a major thesis of mine was actually longing a lot of the beat down defensive names and things like that. Consumer staples, all these names that had lagged from the week prior, I was actually going to get long in. One of the trades that I talked about last time, which hopefully you guys kind of maybe took some ideas from, was this Boeing. If you guys remember, we talked about that specific option flow order off the bottom, how it would incentivize market makers to buy off the lows, to buy back their hedges, which they shorted off that order. So that was one of my bigger trades this week. Additionally, longing healthcare names. A lot of the healthcare names were extremely beaten down. HUM was a name that I longed this week, but one that I actually think will have a lot of opportunity moving forward is IBB. Now, this one had a beautiful kind of ruler, what you call kind of like a flat top break, something like that here, and it looked really good for that longer trade. But when you looked at the options chains, they were absolutely stacked with calls until January. So the fact we got such a big flush now, and then we're starting to rally back to the low, that tells me that's a max paid move. And it's likely that a lot of those calls are now flushed out of the market, and there's going to be a nice move to the upside. So especially within energy as well. Energy, materials, IBB, that all is playing into the yields, TNX, slowing down, which we've been talking about for a few weeks. Every time I come on here, I'm like, man, the TNX is slowing down, but it actually is starting to show those signs of a top. It is actually dragging much lower and slowing down much more than it has in previous weeks. So that's why you saw a lot of relief in IWM. And even a lot of the small caps, things like that, even small cap crypto coins. Like we said, that, you know, off that October low, IWM, small cap themes, that's not just for US equities, but also cryptos that you saw Dogecoin outperform BTC. It's like, what, up 200% since the start of November? Absolutely crazy. But yeah.
Yeah, rotation's one way, I guess, to think about it when we have a bull. It's like you go from the, you know, where the strength has been into some other ancillary names in there, and it happens in crypto as well, as you say. Now, just two things I want to maybe circle back to. We can maybe talk about, because Boeing to me seems like it's obviously just only the start of something given how far it's gone down. But when you're talking, okay, so IBB, going back to the biotechnology ETF, with the move already in, like the upward trend on the daily chart is definitely intact. And it has yet to get back to the 200 on the daily. So that's one of those levels that I love, the 200 period moving average. You've already got a pretty decent bounce on it. What do you see as far as maybe continuation in something like this? Now, do you see this as getting back into the high, wait for it to test a 200 period, wait for a consolidation? How would you be positioning maybe going into next week, specifically on this one, when it's already given you 3-4 solid days of a bounce after a steep pullback? I see that 200 period moving average. A lot of times you can consolidate underneath that. What's your thoughts specifically on how you position? Because the trend is clearly still nice long uptrend on the daily.
Yeah, what I like to say is one of the biggest problems with retail traders is not that they don't know how to trade. It's not necessarily where, you guys are all really good at drawing levels on your chart. You all know where the liquidity is. A lot of traders know, hey, there's a moving average here. Hey, there's a supply and demand zone here. A lot of you guys are really good at drawing those levels, but where a lot of traders fail, and this is the separation from experienced and profitable traders from the unexperienced and unprofitable traders, is timing. Ultimately, the hardest part about any move in the market is timing that move. Sure, you could think $90 is a support level, but is it going to chop on that support level for 2-3 weeks? How does that correlate to your options trade, right? I have to select the right date for when I think that move is going to happen. So timing the markets is incredibly difficult, and this goes for whatever you trade. And so when I see something like this, it has rallied so strong off the low, while I do want to try to get it on a good schedule, I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, well, I want it to drop first. Because retail's biggest problem is they love to wait. They love to see something at $20 and then they see it go to 40 and then they're like, okay, well, I think that's too expensive, even though I thought $20 was too expensive. So then it drops back down to 20 and they want it to even go lower. Say, oh, I want to get another discount. The problem with retail trading is waiting. And what I always tell people is this, that strong breakouts do not retest. If a breakout is truly strong, why would it return to the original origin of the breakout? Think about that. So a lot of the trades that I have, the really gap and goes, the breakouts, the really, really obnoxiously strong breakouts we see, such as Bitcoin, you cannot wait. when it comes to IBB and biotech in particular, how I'm positioning, I actually prefer XBI over IBB. And something as easy as January calls. January, I believe 17th is the expiration for January. Get positioning 30% of your size into that and just letting it go, letting the opportunity go. I think this could easily get to 110, 112 by the end of the year.
Yeah, I think that's an absolutely great and fantastic point. The terminology, the term I like to use for that exact thing, something that in the very first week of my training as a trainee back in 2003, believe it or not, was, and one of the owners of the prop floor said, sometimes everyone, well, not sometimes, everyone wants to buy low, sell high. If you want to be a successful trader, get comfortable with buy high, sell higher.
Right, exactly. And I think even Warren Buffett tells us a lot, right? You're going to, for you longer term investors, if you want good value, you're going to pay a premium. If something is valuable, you're going to pay a premium. That's just how it is. And so when you get that breakout, you see it ripping. Is it really worth just sitting on your butt and saying, oh, I want it at a lower price? And then you buy the dip, and that's when it's actually breaking down. Yeah. So it's really just recognizing, and you really only get that through experience. You really only get it through, hey, how many times does something like this break down or things like that? But yeah, certainly one of the biggest problems I've encountered, especially in my trading, believe me, guys, I'm 20. I did have professional mentors, but these guys, even when they were training me through this stuff, they really instilled in me that, hey, if you're going to wait for something, it better be a longer dated contract, because if you just sit there and wait, you're never going to get filled.
Yeah, absolutely perfect. And I think that's a great point there. We have another question that came from the chat. I want to throw it over to Adara so she can get that, because some of our viewers had a question for you.
Yeah, thank you for being here with us, Andrew. Thanks for taking the time to come and for the show, and thank you for that super chat as well. We do have Brendan Walsh in the chat asking your thoughts on why we have these quantum stocks pumping. That happened this week. It was also last week they made some moves. I guess wondering if this is the new rotation. So do you have any thoughts on this quantum move we've had recently?
Yeah, so as far as the quantum stuff, I believe there was initially a headline with Google and some other company on trying to partner to create quantum. I forget the other company. I know it was Google and someone else. But as far as what you guys, it's good that you guys are looking into these new themes. I talk about it all the time, but seasonals always tell you that there is going to be new empires. We always talk about this, but seasonally speaking, October is the most volatile month, but it's also the month that typically sets the bottom into the end of the year. When we typically get more selling pressure is actually this later January and February. So what you want to be positioning into is seeing new themes that start to develop before that drop. What are people talking about? What is something that people are really getting hyped about, so that when that February bearishness comes in, those are going to be the ones that get the really big pump off the low when they do start to sell off from the overall market pressures. But overall, what I would say is that from my research, a lot of the recent IPOs, these names are going to be the Tiggers to start going. Reddit, Cart was one that I traded earlier this year to the long side. These recent IPOs near their 52-week highs, these guys are all going to get the rally into the end of the year, especially a lot of material names, energy. All these sectors are what I've researched and what I believe have consistent edge to the long side into the end of the year. But as far as relating to quantum computers specifically, is this the new way of computing in the future? I think it certainly is, but you have to let this industry develop. One of the biggest industries I've been looking into investing long term is actually biometric securities. But the problem is, and even 6D printing. But a lot of the problem is there's not enough tickers to invest in that idea. So you're just going to have to wait for more developments of specific companies, of specific technology, things like that, to take risk in. And you guys, even now, we're just now getting Bitcoin exposure in the overall markets, right? We're just now getting ETFs and things like that. So, and Bitcoin's at 100K. So are we late by the time that happens? Who knows? But I'm willing to wait for it.
Almost at 100K. No,
almost at 100K. If you're using Canadian dollars, I think it's past 800K last week. So.
Oh, don't! How dare you? I'm not going to bother calling it up. We did cross 100,000.
Now, Neil, I got to get your opinion. I saw some tweet on my timeline. So you're going to be a rich man next year with the $250 check you're getting, or? Oh wait, no, you make more than $3 million a year. Never mind. But as far as that's crazy, man. I was reading that. And I was just sitting there shaking my head. I said, you know what? That's
Canada.
Yeah.
We try to stay away from so we do try to stay away from politics a little bit.
Okay.
But let's just say, obviously in the U.S. you just had elections. We're having elections, and
so things are getting heated then, huh?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes what you'll have is a little bit of pandering, and if you give a little bit, like the tax break to pretty much everybody in a short term, that can buy a few extra votes. Again, I don't want to get too much.
I agree. You know what though? I always tell people this: it's not worth the headache to sit here and talk about the.
No.
You know, politics doesn't make us money, Neil. So we might as well.
Well, okay. In the few chances, obviously things like DJT or maybe
Okay, yeah.
When Trump announces things that we're gonna get rid of Gary Gensler, like those types of things are gonna move the market and we care about them. Can I circle back to when you mentioned materials?
Oh yeah.
Just
yeah.
a quick question here. How much does the if you're gonna have quantum computing, okay, you're gonna energy uses are gonna go up. Like that's nanonuclear is there because of all the data centers. Well, when it comes to materials, you got to build all these data centers out for AI. Now when you talk about the rotation, is it that, or are you talking about materials is going back into rotation for something just as a pure sector, or is it because you think the next AI play is going to be in the materials, the nuts and bolts?
So as far as specifically with materials and things like that, we talked about even on the show when I was here in person that I believe that the inflationary trade, the dollar going up, was going to be something that we wanted to talk about into the end of the year. It was going to be something we mentioned, commodities, material, energy, these type of names starting to do well into the end of the year. And I still stand by that. I think a lot of the ways that people invest in materials is quite different. How I like to approach it is, number one, I like to kind of group things up. So if you want broad market exposure, XLB is typically my ticker that I like to trade. Typically with how it pays, it doesn't pay as much as doing something like silver and gold. But I believe that the biggest risk to reward is in silver. Now, specifically with materials, some of the names that you can get into, uranium, even platinum, things like these guys are kind of sleepers. Of course, I would stay away from natural gas. We all know the absolute diabolical price action with that. But that's really what you kind of do. So when it comes to rotations, I'm not sitting here going, okay, look, materials, it's going to fund this bigger, or, you need materials to mine the quantum computers or build them, not mine them, build them and yada, yada, yada. I don't think that's going to be necessarily the logic behind my investment into it, but it's more around markets love to jump onto an idea and just roll with it. So for example, inflation, they go immediately into materials without necessarily all the specific reasonings behind it. Why do you think everyone is pumping into DJT? Well, it's not a profitable company. It's just an idea. It's an idea that President Trump is going to be elected, that they latch onto, and they seemingly see that as bullish. It's not necessarily, DJT is going to solve all of our problems when they only make $4 million a year, if that. So that's one of the ideas, is just jump on an idea. What idea is that? What is the frenzy? Because one of the famous sayings is markets can remain irrational longer than you can remain solvent. And so with materials, things like that, if you see upside pressure, you see people hopping on this idea, inflation, that's going to be affected by it. But to answer specifically, I like to go XLB. I'm going into January, as well as energy, OIH. I'm actually leaning towards oil services more than the XOM and oil producers. And then also SLV for January or April calls.
Yeah, I love all those plays. And I appreciate the explanation. You get a lot of love in the chat, as you always do for being so articulate about it. There's a great channel on SLV. And I think if we can all agree that there's, inflation is not abating the way that it is going, well, the gold's already made its move, and silver didn't necessarily. So there's a channel, an upward channel that silver has been holding on a daily chart. Anyone can pull it up, and you can see it, and we've talked about it before. And I'm definitely with you on that one. We only have a couple of minutes to go, Andrew, and I know we've been keeping everybody a little bit on edge, or on the edge of their seats. On the edge of their seats, because you've got a surprise for us, which you always do, and always a good one when you come and join us, and we always appreciate you for that. So, okay, Andrew, what do you got for us here? Because everyone's
all right. So listen, guys, I haven't talked to my PR manager, Brendan, yet. Okay. So if he comes and cancels this, it's not my problem. But pull the wire, guys. As far as what we are going to do, there's been a lot of speculation. Raider, are you going in person? Raider, are you coming on the show? Raider, are you gonna start for the LA Lakers? Listen, I'm gonna not answer any of that, which I could start for the LA Lakers. But as far as what I'm going to do, we do have some involvement with Trader TV family in the future. You guys know I've been writing reports. You guys know my knowledge about trading. And of course, these folks here, Sean, Neil, all these other guys. But Brendan and I have been scheming, all of us behind the scenes of Trader TV. And we want to provide more in-depth research to you guys, complete reports. If you guys have known me for a while, I've been writing the Raider reports. These have been very, very, very in-depth reports, specific entries, specific game plans, data with edge. This isn't yapping. It is very professional data. and I've been completing those into reports. And so what we are going to do with Trader TV is we're going to offer this in a Sunday newsletter that we send out every week. It is going to be a report, and that is my contribution to the Trader TV family. We're going to be working on it, growing it, and of course, if we get big enough and we get bold enough, we'll chase down some institutions who might want the very valuable data we are offering. So that's our announcement. You guys can expect that within the next few weeks. Hopefully by the first week of December. But definitely sign up for that. Believe me, the research we are going to report is going to be absolutely diabolical. It is amazing research. It is very high edge. It is like the Boeing trades, but 10 times. Okay.
I may or may not have seen some prototypes. And just to add to that, we are going to be adding detailed trade ideas in addition. Like, and that's the other thing. I want to kind of emphasize that. Executable trade ideas from, things like, this is not just why we're looking at the stock, much the same way we'll do it for the day trade. This is the entry. This is the target. These are the conditions that you're looking for. This is the time frame. It's going to be that granular.
Yep.
Just so
Specific levels, targets, everything. And I want to say this as well to you guys, that this is going to be something you've never seen before, and I mean it like this. You see a lot of general information out there. You see a lot of people get asked, hey, what's your opinion on Biotech? And they go, oh, I'm cautiously bullish. Man, just say you don't know what's going on, So just that is not what we're going to do. We're going to give you specific ideas, actionable ideas, and hopefully offer you a perspective. I'm a big believer. My mentors taught me a perspective. They didn't just teach me one strategy. They taught me a bunch of strategies that all together build a perspective for me. I believe that's the longest way to stay in the markets, and I believe that's the most profitable way.
I 100% agree. It's when people say they're constructive on something that always gets me. I'm constructive on retail.
What do they do? Sorry, you're breaking up. Yeah, that meme. So
are you long? Where would you buy it? Like, you can tell me, hey, I wouldn't buy it unless it got here, so I'm not in it. I'm always cool with that. Like, I would only buy it if it did this. Yeah. That's cool. That's the target. You got an idea for it. Andrew, I want to thank you so much for coming on, dropping mad knowledge like you always do. And everybody, make sure you look out for what is coming. I can't make any promises on the date. We'll have to leave that up to Brendan.
I think December 1st is our target.
Okay, that's the target.
But definitely expect it first week of December, first 2 weeks.
There you go. Andrew Rader, you're the man. Check him out. Check him on Insta. Check him on X. Check him out when he comes on here every single opportunity. And then look out for that newsletter. Thank you so much for joining us, Andrew. Have an awesome weekend.
Peace, guys.
My button doesn't work. Oh, no. See, I don't have my button that I can't hit. But thank you so much, Andrew. It's always great to have him on. And, all the love in the chat, like, trust me. We make sure we pass on. I know he feels it too as well. So we appreciate it. That's why we bring him on, for that extra perspective and a wealth of knowledge. And it's just, it doesn't get any better than that. I do like that silver play.
Yeah.
But you know what time it is, Darren? You know what we got to do at this particular time.
I do.
I saw someone in the chat, I didn't catch it, say, did you guys do roll call already? Of course we didn't do roll call. We're still doing Trader Talk. Roll call happens after, but if you want to be involved in roll call, where Dara rhymes, rapid fire everybody's name when you drop it in the chat, you've got to be a subscriber to be in the chat to be able to get your name in there. So first of all, hit the like, hit the subscribe, jump into the chat, throw your name in there, throw some ones, but more importantly, I say throw a big thank you to Andrew Rader for jumping on. So everyone throw in there, Andrew is great, or Andrew, thank you, or whatever you would like, but make sure you do that, and you've got to be a sub to do it. So I want to thank Andrew. I want to thank our entire team, from Fabian, Ramin, Andre, to the Midday show. Of course, Satya dropping in with Sharif, and Joe, Options Joe, getting in there. Thank you to Obi for filling in for Sean today. Big shout out to Brendan, of course, to Adara for giving everybody free money on Walmart today, because everyone had free money. Now it's roll call time. Oh, wait a minute. Of course it's not, because Bears versus Bulls, we have to give a big shout out to you, the best moderator in the business. And now we can do roll call.
Thank you very much, Bears versus Bulls. Thank you to Neil, Ramin for still being here. Shout out to Obi for covering today. Sean, hope he's doing well. We also had Satya and Sharif over in the Midday. Shout out to Joe as well. Let's get this roll call started. We got Michelle Muir. We have Sharmeen Khan, Amma Hamada, Volki, Adam Deleuze. We have Okakur, Pickle Jim, Caleb Ocon, Simon H. Crapstock, Mark LePage, Nabadi. Oh, shout out to you, Mark LePage. Hi. No, I don't know this person, but same last name. Nabadi, we have TH, Phil of the Future, Professor Love. Wah. We've got Richard Cabeza, Flames News, consistently improving. I love that name. Sebastian again, Professor Love, Bbot 5000, BGT, or MGT, sorry, AC. Derek Thompson, Dennis Saylor, Asa Coolmer, Blue Arrow, D. Westermeyer, Pitchbull, Marlon B. We got Ian Respetto, we got Hay Davis, we have Anbu, we have so many beats. We got Slugga 214, Charmine Khan, Blue Arrow, Dewey, Datube 37, consistently improving once again here. Raider Trader, shout out to you once again. We have Other Zinc, J-Muck, Guardian Angel, Ryan, Slugga. We have 4XAU once again, J Dr. Blue Arrow, Reload to Reload. I feel like there's a lot of repeats here, but thank you so much to everybody for being here. Give me the opportunity to speak your name quickly.
There we go. And thank you to everybody for making this the best trading community out there. But like we always say, the best thing about this is we get to do it all next week. It's a holiday shortened week, but that doesn't matter. Why? Because the volatility is still here. Bitcoin still has a chance to break 100,000. Hasn't happened yet. And we will be here for all of it. So all you got to do is first have a fantastic weekend. Enjoy it with friends and family. Get rested up. We got another big week coming for you. Tune in bright and early, 8:30, Trader TV Live. We'll see you Monday morning. Have a great weekend, everybody.
See you guys.